What a difference a day makes. Up and away here for stock futures this morning in a big way. Right across the board, individual names of futures, whatever you want to look at, just absolutely ripping right now. Better part of 3% here for the S&P, similar for the NASDAQ. The opposite, obviously, for crude oil and energy to the downside. Absolutely crushed overnight on the news of this two-week ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran. Will it or won't it hold? We'll see how things play out over the next coming days here. There was just a statement released by both U.S. President Trump and also the European Union coming out saying that a finalized deal needs to be reached here in the next coming days. We'll see how things play out. Lots of individual storylines to talk about this morning. The energy sector, just one of those. To the upside, basically everything else. Tech specifically getting quite a bit here this morning. Precious metals getting quite a bit here this morning as well after a couple of not only down days but down weeks here with this tension in the Middle East. But will it or won't it hold? I was just seeing a statement from Iran basically saying that the Strait of Hormuz could potentially be open in a limited capacity by Thursday or Friday. Any vessel trying to travel through the strait would still need to coordinate heavily with their defense.
And that's the catch, isn't it, right? And from the U.S. side of things, it isn't all hunky-dory either because President Trump about 20 minutes ago did threaten a 50% tariff here for any country supplying military weapons to Iran. So we're back, I guess. I do want to mention here, you talked about oil to the downside. As a result, a lot of these airlines are to the upside, though I think Delta certainly benefited from its earnings beat this morning, of course, so that's going to be a good look here. Levi and AEHR, Air Test Systems, they also reported earnings. We've got Applied Digital and STZ reporting after the bell. Oscar Health CEO purchased like $11 million worth of stock. So there's a lot of little random one-off headlines, but as you mentioned, pretty much everything is going to be trading higher.
It's funny, you and I were talking about this fuel surcharge on airlines as of yesterday, and here we are a day later, and we're going in the opposite direction. But will that come off? Probably not. Let's see how things play out over the next few days here. But I mean, the key is going to be any relief as far as costs for airlines is going to be a massive positive for them. So the entire sector, that Jets ETF I saw this morning was one of the biggest gainers. There it is, 2760, 2780 for Jets this morning. So yeah, airlines to the upside, tech to the upside, everything but energy, guys, heading in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they got it. If everything's going to be up, energy has to be down.
Yeah, well, there's, come on.
This much, anyways.
The UVXY VIX is down a ton. There's other things that, literally the only thing on my quote board that is down is like a bunch of energy stuff and then the VIX and then open Toronto stuff. If you're like Netflix, 1.6% disappointing. If you're Eli Lilly, 1.8, 2% disappointing. Apple, only 2%. But then I go to the other side, which is way easier to do this. And it's like, this is just my quote board. It doesn't really matter. Like, you'd have all the airlines and cruise lines are going to be up. I just have CCL. Micron, almost double digits. Robinhood, 9% for Robinhood with Bitcoin over 70K. Look, this may not be all over with because there's still some stuff that has to be hammered out, obviously here, but as long as oil holds down, I think we're looking pretty solid here today. And USO, for what it's worth, it's not as if you're getting one of those in oil futures, you're not really getting that gap down and then sometimes press higher where you get that like slow grind higher when you see things that gap down. We've actually been trending downside on USO for the majority of the morning, which also gets a little bit more bullish. So yeah, there's some names that I would say are a little disappointing, but if you're disappointed that some stocks are up 2%, then that's a pretty solid start to the day.
So one thing is confirmed, and I want to thank Deere for this as well. The Oscar CEO definitely watches Trader TV Live. I mean, yesterday I put Oscar as a buy on here, and he took it literally. He went in there and bought $11 million worth of shares. So the Oscar CEO liking. Yo, what's up, Randy? Hey, don't point those at us.
Like,
and this is a coffee from yesterday.
Don't worry about it.
Hello? Oh, President Trump. Oh, how are you? Yeah, thanks, Randy. I'll take another coffee if you don't mind. I mean, Drink that one first. That one might be a little bit, a little bit out of pocket there. But no, all jokes aside, yeah, no, it's been a fantastic run. I mean, you mentioned there just for oil, yeah, all the beat up names. Brendan said before he went on air, like how tough it is to buy when it's all the way down, and then how stupid you feel when you wake up to a day like today and you realize I didn't buy enough at the bottom. I don't have any cash, so for me, I'm sleeping well. I mean, I was at the blood donor bank this weekend and I got a little bit. I bought a couple shares, but other than that, I ain't got nothing. So I'm already all in right now. So there's not much I can do, but there's the move down. You like that, Joe? There's the move down in oil. Very, very aggressive into $92, into 90, watching out for 88. Look, you know, it's a serious day. I haven't seen Obi beside me at this time in forever, and he's here right now. So we're ready to rock and roll. Hey, there he is. He doesn't even know what's going on. Yeah, what's going on, Obi? So we're all here. We're ready to rock. There's oil down 18%. It should be a good, fun day. That is for sure. You know, jumping in right away off the open. We've talked about that. We had a couple of videos on that. Should be something that I think we wait around for a couple minutes to see what happens off the open. But right now, the NASDAQ, wow, as Brendan, Neil, everybody's been mentioning today, Dara, how smoke show this has been, up 3.5%. I mean, you were mocking some stocks up 2%, and it's just such a nice feeling to finally come in on a day and feel like you have a little bit more in your pocket than you did yesterday, because that really hasn't been the case. Now the next move is hopefully at the pumps can come down a little bit.
There's some weird ones though.
Gas.
So no, you're happy that anything's up.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like that's one of those things. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, why is SoFi up almost 10% here? Like there's some things that make, like you're gonna tell me the airlines and the crude lines are up 10%, no problem. You wanna tell me the market is gapped, fair enough, but you know, financials are good, a couple points across the board, but I think it seems like really, it's like how badly were you beaten up, and then that maybe is correlating with how much you are gapped up higher, like Robinhood's 9, probably mostly because like Bitcoin and crypto, but yeah, some of these charts, and there's gonna be a lot that look pretty much like this, where you're either you've just made the break or you're on the cusp of a real breakout. So it's good. It feels really good. Buckle up. I see we've got some people in here in the chat that are excited and ready, and everyone's like, "Oh my goodness, the market's up." Yeah, it's been a minute since we felt this good. Just I'm always remembering when you have gaps up this big, there's almost always some profit takers at the open. So that's one thing to keep in mind.
I mean, this is just a one shop pony right now. Exactly. Like we're just going up because of this sort of ceasefire, right? I mean, we still have a lot to work through. However, the odds of a Fed rate cut are now 43%. We had 0% for the whole year a couple of days ago. Now it's 43% chance of a rate cut, which is great. And if you are an equity trader looking to scale, ProShop Trader is a multi-asset proprietary trading firm designed to remove the typical barriers traders face. You can trade stocks without pattern day trading restrictions and no licensing requirements, while also accessing futures markets within the same environment. ProShop Trader offers both day trading and swing trading programs, giving traders the flexibility to manage multiple accounts and deploy different strategies. Why risk your own capital when you don't have to? Please scan that QR code right now to unlock 60% off your first account, plus buy one, get one free. Love those BOGOs. Get started today. PropShop Trader. Want to thank them for sponsoring this opening segment. And yeah, I mean, look, I think we're supposed to have Luis Barbado on today, so there'll be some small cap names that we'll discuss as well. NASDAQ, there it is. I didn't know if we had a truce with Randy or not on the coffee. Is this coffee or oil? Oil's a lot cheaper today, Randy, which is nice to see. Randy's been taking it on the chin with diesel prices, I noticed. Like, hopefully they're going to come back. Oil down 18%. Yeah, exactly. We got to get those R2s in Canada, though. That's the problem for right now.
What?
No,
day-old coffee?
Thanks, Randy.
Yeah,
sorry about that. I must have left that there yesterday. I showed Randy. I made myself a coffee. This is now half, right? And it's like, now we got a brand new one. So it's like, what winds up happening around here is you have 3 or 4 cups that are half full. And,
I usually, at least by the end of the show, I have 2. Most days, sometimes it is 3, and they just get cold, and it's half full is what it is. Rivian Randy's got to be happy. Rivian's up.
Oh yeah, so he's just talking about the R2 there. That's what
Well, you were just talking about the R2. Why not?
Buy one, yeah.
Only 4% up though. So, I mean, what are we doing?
To your SoFi question, it's because all these stocks.
It's crypto.
No, just crypto. Yeah, crypto too. But it's just like they're just so beat up, right? I mean, it's like regardless, Oscar's been beat up. I know the guy came in there and bought it. You know, it's a lot of these other companies like Robinhood's up, also pretty huge. Anything that's been like crushed as of late is going to be up today. Like Walmart, actually, you know it's not. I don't know, what was Walmart going today? Because yesterday Walmart was down 2 or 3 percentage points, even though we rallied at the end of the day. Yeah, so Walmart, a little worried about this one. 42 price earnings ratio of 42 on Walmart. A little rich for my blood. And yesterday we did have some pullbacks in some of the retail space. Home Depot was another example. So here goes Target up 1.9%. I should not have shown Randy XOM. He is loving XOM, but you got to love the XOM price action, as I've been saying recently, to the downside. But it's been a great 6 months for XOM. But there it is, right back into the 50-period moving average.
It's so hard to buy those at that high.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, anybody pushing the button up top knew that there was some sort of a risk happening there. Oil
Even if it's not over, it's just like, then you'd wait for a dip to buy. You know what, there is something
Oil
down.
doubled.
So there's something that's down that is not energy or it's VIX. Remember Avis, the last, well, I mean, you don't have to remember, yesterday Avis double digits, and pretty much every single day for the last couple of weeks it's been going double digits. They're down a little bit here. Only 2%, but it's not like it's had many down days. You don't wonder, it's like, okay, well, money goes into everything else, and like, does this squeeze play find a turn? So I have this mildly on the radar. It's not down much, but there's a lot of unwinding that would have to go into CAR here. I think we looked at it like 48% short float at one side and 24 at another. But of all that, this is the one with a bit of redness to it. I think that was a strong stock yesterday. So if you can, that's the thing. If you can find relative weakness here early, it's not a bad thing to be able to identify. There just isn't much. Like, this was the only thing I could come up with that isn't energy or risk related that's down here that might be remotely tradable. But yeah, a lot to cover. Of course, we actually have Fed minutes today, which I don't know. It's like, meeting minutes are not that big of a deal because none of it will be reacting to anything current. So it's kind of one of those nothing burgers. A couple of Fed speakers, I think, as well, but pretty quiet news-wise.
Yeah, Tesla's just back to where it was 2 days ago. You know, so some of these moves aren't. This stock here, Marvell, up another 6% today. This name just 3, 4, 5 days ago was $87. You know, taking out 116 right now. We're getting closer and closer to a spot where we should be tap out a little bit right there. Marvell, that's a banger. And then right here, Intel as well. Intel taking out, I think this is close to this might be its 52-week high right now, right?
It is, yeah, 55.
54.60 past 52-week high on Intel. So we had some good news. Also, Intel reminding me a lot of Marvell, except for Marvell's better. From 42 up to 55 right there. What a monster for Intel, as if they got that new NVIDIA money. They already have NVIDIA money, but there it goes. High side right now for Intel. Wow. As Brendan said, man, to loaded the boat down here, $42 to $44 on Intel. Wow, man, you're getting a 25% bump in 4 days there on INTC. Just an absolute monster there. And then yesterday we said like the best buy in the whole place is probably NVIDIA down there at 170, maybe the safest, because no matter what turmoil we go through the last year, it's really just held out right down here. So this goes all the way back to July. Where we were bouncing off of this 165, 170 area. Now you're just, guess where we are in NVIDIA right now? We're back in the middle again, so there's a surprise for NVIDIA, but nice to see them little doji starring up here above the 50-period moving average. So yeah, man, put some names in the chat. You guys want us to look at it. Should be a really fun day. It's 8:15 already. We're having some good vibes around these joints right now, and it's because the market is rallying. Nasdaq up 3.5%.
Probably to talk about the metals.
Probably the best open all year, I would think. Nasdaq opening up 3.5%. I think that's probably true. So
like gold, silver. I mean, pretty much all the precious metals are going to be looking really good today. You're going to be able to look at like MP, the rare earths are looking better because it would have been demand concerns. So there's just so much to be. If you're just looking at gappers, forget about it. There's going to be a lot. And of course, as always, this is because it's not over. We're still a headline-driven market as things get hammered out. And potentially, we're looking at Thursday. They said as early as Thursday, the trade could be open back up. We'll look for some headlines. We'll look for some updates. We'll get them all from the desk, where Adara is right now, joined by Brennan. Like I said, we're going to talk some small caps, I think, with Luis a little bit later. But we'll be keeping our ear to the ground, so you're in the right spot. Anything that happens, we'll see the moves in oil. We'll hear the news as quickly as possible and get it right to you. That's what we do.
Yeah, overall, individually, if you go through the energy sector, I was just pulling up some names here. XOM back to the downside, CVX back to the downside here as well, along with crude oil. The moves, however, on an individual basis, nowhere near obviously what oil itself is doing. Around 6%, depending on which individual producer you actually look at. So worth keeping an eye out if we do get any kind of recovery in oil itself to maybe pick off some of these energy producers. The other end of the story, I guess, or risk-on asset, if you will, crypto, absolutely ripping. Trying to head back higher right now for IBIT. I was just talking or reading through a story about BMNR. Tom Lee talking about Ethereum as well going forward, as he should be. But so crypto back to the upside right now. Energy kind of hanging out here. So again, if we do get a little bit of a recovery bounce maybe off the open from oil itself, could be an opportunity.
Yeah, I want to touch on both of those quickly, if I may, specifically individual names within both groups. So for one, and we were talking about this both on camera and off, but it's kind of interesting how even negative analyst notes don't really seem to be impacting these stocks. That being said, I do want to talk about this downgrade for Coinbase. Now, you can find a little bit more about this on our tradertv.live watch list, but they got hit with an underweight rating, I believe, from Barclays. Something to be aware of here for Coinbase. They basically said that they don't really think their app's performance for the current quarter, I guess the quarter we've just left, Q1 2026, is going to be particularly impressive. Separately, XOM, a name that we know is one of Randy's favorites here, within the oil sector is going to be on watch. They said that their Q1 2026 production is very likely going to be negatively impacted by the conflict in the Middle East by roughly 6%.
If margins are shrinking, yeah, it's not going to be a positive. 4.5% right now for Bitcoin itself, guys. If you zoom out on a daily chart, however, we're just back to the top end of the range here in this back and forth kind of consolidation we've been dealing with, going back to basically February or even the end of January for BTC. So yes, nice move for Bitcoin, but running into some key levels here again.
True, but running through and gapping through an even more key level, which was at 70,000. So this is the first time we've actually been able to, hold under the most recent trend line break and break back above. So like that, it's been pretty good. Support to resistance, fading Bitcoin in front of that line, and now we're out in front and above. 70,000 would be the support line. It looks bullish at least from there to like 73 to 75, as Brendan was mentioning. So you're closer to support than you are to the next resistance. I wouldn't be surprised if we get like some kind of a little bit of a dip. But then don't forget, one of the themes today is going to be, well, you're up. Probably a representation of how much you're up is how badly you've been beaten up. So you're going to see ETH a little bit stronger today. You're going to see when you pull out like BMNR or MSCR, like BMNR is up 7.5, ETH 6, right? And obviously they're going to have some room to run because they've been so badly beaten up. BMNR actually has a bit of a breakout. If we don't go dip and rip, this actually has a level in here at 21.8. It's more like 21.9 if you count that wick, where we could be breaking through some prior resistance. And the crazy thing about it is this, for the first time since October of last year, and it's just ticking it now, is above the 50-period moving average. I mean, that's how bad this has been. It's over a half a year, these guys. This has been under the 50-period. But that's a distinct, if it holds here, I mean, it hasn't done anything except gap above, but if it holds here, that's a pretty distinct change. And the last time it gapped above, it abjectly failed that same day. So I think holding above here is pretty key for BMNR. I'll be looking longs over the 70,000 mark on IBIT. That's a potential little trend break here happening in ETH and BMNR. And we'll see what's going on in options world with our good friend Joe.
Yes, sir. Yes, we will. A lot going on here, guys, and a lot to take into consideration this morning. Because when we're looking at options, everything is essentially halted at 415. That's it. Whatever you see on the bid and the ask, that's going to be the value. And we talked about this before, guys, is that you're going to have to wait until 9:30. So you're going to be having a really good time this morning, or it's going to be slightly painful. Good thing if you're just purchasing these contracts, the max you can lose is what you essentially paid for them if you were buying puts. But if you've been on the right side of things and you purchased those calls leading into the close yesterday and after, I think the move really started to pick up around 8:05. 6:05 is when things really started to pick up there, guys. Aside from that, be prepared for a drastic change in your options contracts. Now, we're going to take a look at INTC Intel. Sean was talking about this earlier this morning, and we're going to be looking at this $50 strike price. We closed around $52. Well, now we're over $5 above this level, and you can see that our delta was relatively high already. It's going to increase drastically, come out of the open, and then you might even see an uptick in implied volatility, which is also going to add a little bit of value and premium into your contract's value as well. And if you're on the opposite side of things, that's the beauty of it. You might see a little bit of, due to the volatility spike, you can even gain a little premium when you are losing on a contract, so it can make the loss a little bit more bearable. All right, so we're going to look at this $50 strike price. Now, $5 ITM, $5 of intrinsic value, open interest 24,900 with volume around 6,330. That is going to be expiring this Friday. The bid and the ask relatively wide, but don't forget, that's going to increase the value of these contracts, may almost double at this point, a little bit less, but other than that, $3.55, $3.35 on your bid. Delta sitting in that $78 metric. You're going to be closer to a 1-to-1 come the open, unless we have an aggressive sell-off before then. Gamma exposure relatively light. Remember, our gamma is always greatest when we're closer to at the money. As you get further out of the money and the further you get in the money, the more it decreases. At the money IV, relatively high here for Intel, 80%. Maybe you will see a slight uptick. Once again, we have to wait until the open to see what we have going on. Moving forward, Bitcoin, we were just talking about the crypto space. We're going to be looking at this $50 mark here. That is out of the money there, guys. We're sitting around $42 right now, or sorry, $40 is $10 out of the money. But what I've seen here is essentially a large amount of open interest at that specific zone expiring this week. Now, are we going to climb? I mean, we're on a pretty good path right now, but I think that's pretty substantial. That'll put Bitcoin around that $80,000 or $75,000, $80,000 mark. I don't think we're ready to go there just yet. Delta's still relatively high, and then your gamma exposure, considering 20, pretty high as well, and then your at the money IV sitting around 53. So don't forget, this is an out the money contract, not worth too much right now, $100 essentially. $3 spread as well too. Moving forward, let's take a look at Apple. Apple putting in a big-time move yesterday as well, a volatility spike, saying that the iPhone foldable is actually going to be released on time. In September, I believe, is going to be roughly the release date. Now, we're going to be taking a look at that $270 mark here on AAPL. We're sitting around $260 right now, okay? And what we can see that there's a drastic change. With Apple and IBIT, the way the delta metric and your Greek metric is priced in is drastically different, okay? So this is roughly 10 points away, and you almost have no delta exposure compared to what we just seen in your essentially Bitcoin contract. Now, at this $270 mark, open interest sitting around 14,800 with volume around 4,470. Once again, we are looking at this Friday's expiration cycle. A $2 spread. You're going to see an increase in this. Even a contract, it's funny because we close around 253. We climb $6 higher in the post market. Those are going to see an increase in their value, even though they expire only 2 days from now. Your gamma exposure 007. I love putting that in there, but relatively cool. You'll see a slight uptick in that as well too as we climb closer to at the money, considering we were around $250 around the close. Your at the money IV sitting around 36.2%, and we'll be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades.
Thank you, Joe. So if you've seen a spike in oil futures and a little bit of a tick down in the markets here, we have a Saudi Arabia's vital east-west oil pipeline carrying crude oil from the Gulf to the Red Sea for export has been attacked, according to reports. You can find that from CGTN Europe there. And we're seeing a little bit of a, let's call it a sustained move. Any of these charts are gonna, when you gap this far, the bounces aren't gonna look as big, but that's a good $3 here on USO. And you're seeing this also reflected over here in the Qs as we've lost VWAP, pulled back about $1.50. So that little test, right? Like the first test of the day, it's still going to be headline driven. Still a lot to hammer out. We even saw this overnight, even after the ceasefire was announced before the deadline. There were still a few attacks here and there in the Middle East. So obviously, this is not a done deal. That's why we'll keep ear to the ground. And you do still have to respect what's going on in oil futures. Like I wouldn't be sitting there being like, oh yeah, but like tech is up this much and Bitcoin this and that, or whatever you might be looking at and thinking you can just ignore headlines and ignore what's going on in the oil futures market. Yikes. But it's not that big of a pullback yet with respective to where we're coming from. Let's be real. So, I mean, Intel is looking like it's pulling back into 55. Tesla, 362. We were talking about NVIDIA earlier. That's still above some pre-market lows. But our first challenge of the day is here for the markets.
We're starting to dip down, just as you mentioned there, a nice little move. But I think this is to be expected. I mean, there's some traders out there saying, like, are you actually considering these longs down at these levels? We did have a couple of super chats that we didn't get to right there. Good job yesterday. Nailed this one. Silver longs. Again, what's up, JKL? Cleaning lady called out making beds report. Okay, good. Sold out of your Corning. That's probably a great trade. I didn't even look at GLW yet. Here, we can look at GLW together. GLW, so that was probably, I mean, you know, anything in the space is going to the upside. So there it is, nice 6% right there. I hope you got out of that one, as you mentioned there. And your silver long, silver's been nice too. Call you crazy, but you're going short Bitcoin. I don't think you're crazy at all. I think there's more momentum to the short side in our chat, it seems like, than there is to the long side. So that's giving me a little bit of worry there. And then here it is right here, another one from Swing for Green. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why this warrants such a huge move, but you know what? It's more about, like, a lot of these names have been so beat up, I feel like, to the downside. You had that example of SoFi, you know, and you have, you know, just the NASDAQ in general. There's so much money on the sidelines. We've talked about that. And people looking to get in, right? Especially at the beginning of the year. We had this move last year at this exact time in April. It's almost to the day where we had the tariff tantrum, right? And all of a sudden, everybody that didn't get in at that point, and if you go back to what that looked like on the NASDAQ, right? I have to let this load. All the way back, we're gonna wait for, go April, right? There it is. So, you know, even if you missed like that first huge day, like this is like today's April 8th, this is April 9th. So it's 52 weeks to the day, you know, right there that we had that huge move. So April 8th was this move down, then Trump said, let's buy everything, went to the upside, then we got faded. So this is your JK, I'm gonna clear this, to your JKL. This is like sort of that fade that maybe you're looking for in Bitcoin where we get all this exuberance happening. And then it just kind of took off from there. So I think there's a lot of buyers right now that are waiting for a similar event. So if you look, obviously it's not going to be as dramatic, but it's not that far, you know, from this peak to this trough down there. You're kind of going peak to trough. It's not going to be as dramatic, right? But at the same time, the move higher looks like it's, you know, 3 or 4%. I can't remember what that was that day, but there it is right there, right back up above the 50-period moving average. So I just think there's a lot of money on the sidelines, and right now it gives you that opportunity to get back in and buy. It could also be early, a lot of short covering as well. As we just had mentioned, there's some traders selling out of their longs. And it could be the other way around too. Traders nervous about their shorts and maybe are eating them early on right now. So yeah, we'll just have to wait. I mean, the NASDAQ up 3%. It's good. You know, we've seen these moves happen before. All we are is right back to where the level. Let me just get the exact date here. We're right back to March 16th. So, you know, it's been nice. It's been a nice 3 weeks of downside. Now we get that pop-up. Will we hold? We shall see. That's why you're here. It's 8:30. We're going to have Luis, I believe, planned up coming soon. So hopefully he'll come through, and then we'll get going on that from there. But
maybe he's busy shorting Quince.
Yeah, maybe
Well, there's like a small capper because we talked to Luis and he's always like the ones that gap and lose VWAP or VWAP, whatever. Because when you say gap, then I say VWAP, and then when I'm not saying that, I say VWAP. It doesn't make a difference. You guys know the volume weighted average price. If it's underneath it, then sometimes you look for that short to be a continuation. And Quince is one of them. Actually, what's the story here? While we're on it, might as well. Quince Therapeutics, yada, yada, yada. Oh, there's not a story since Monday. Okay, they announced the settlement of a loan obligation on Monday and did this move yesterday late and is giving a lot of it back. So, yeah, there's always there's always going to be small cappers. There's always going to be penny stocks that are available to trade. Just the ones that you probably have to be a little bit concerned about are the energy ones that have given it all back. I've got to be big concerns. I looked at Battle. I'm like, is there anything left to short on this? And the answer was pretty much no, because when the conflict started, it was $3. Oh no, it's underneath. My bad. It's actually lower. Like that's the crazy thing. This is lower than when all of this started. It was $4, and it's now at like $3.30. So if you held this from the beginning of the conflict to the end, you've lost money on Battle. Not to say that anyone would be that silly as to not take a 10-bagger if they had it, or a 7-bagger, or whatever the heck it was at the top. But yeah, small cappers will be in play. As always, we'll go to the desk, and I know we're going to have Luis shortly.
Dare I say we can actually get back into normal, regularly scheduled economic calendar as well? Potentially, anyways. Let's have a look at today. Really nothing too significant coming on Wednesday other than the normal 10:30 energy dump of data. Could be something depending on how this plays out over the next coming weeks, but 10:30 really the only day or notable release anyways today. Until 2 p.m. we get the FOMC meeting minutes from the last meeting. Typically is nothing, but worth keeping a note on for 2 o'clock this afternoon. Tomorrow then we get PCE, we get a quarterly GDP print, and then Friday we'll get the big one, CPI, coming through. I was just reading through a report on this, or the potential print for this time around. 2.5% was the prior. We're expecting another uptick here. 2.6% is the forecast on this site. I've seen as high as 2.8, 2.9%, given the recent run-up in energy prices and how that's going to filter through, not only to the consumer at the pump, but food, energy, basically everything going to be affected with higher energy.
And I think in general, Friday will be an interesting day for these inflation prints because you do have CPI, but then at 10 a.m., it's worth remembering we also have the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment print. Now, this is significant because you get a sense of how consumers are feeling, and also there is an inflation aspect to this print. You've got a 1-year and 5-year inflation print. So I think if we get a couple maybe higher than expected inflation readings with CPI and UMich, that could maybe be a bit of a rough sign for the market. But yeah, tomorrow, certainly going to be interesting. I think Friday will really kind of seal the deal in either direction.
Okay, NBIS, just hearing popping up once again, 126, I guess it bounced off of there. Another one moving around here in the pre-market. But let's get to the other end of the market cap scale here. Talk a little bit about some small caps. There he is. Luis Barbado joining us from the Real Trading Office over in Barcelona, Spain. Happy rally day here, Luis, for someone who, we're talking about small caps, so it's probably not going to be too affected, but for someone who leans on the short side, let's be honest, more often than not, how are you feeling coming into a day like today?
Well, I don't think the people lying on the short side are on index or blue chips. Will be not very smart, since long term is very difficult, very tricky to go short on index or big companies. So if you are in a small cap short side or long side, you really don't care so much about the overall and fundamental economic, macroeconomic things. So here we are again.
Yeah, digging into that a little bit, maybe, for someone who's seeing this for the first time or maybe living through an overall market event like this for the first time. And Darren and I were just talking a little bit off screen about how, when an overall market catalyst takes control versus, a normal day when an individual stock has a news story and an individual stock can move on said news story. When it's the overall market that's moving around, those individual catalysts kind of get thrown out the window. But you've been through a few of these, as have we, sitting right here talking about them. I was just saying to her, COVID was probably the last one that comes to mind when the overall market was in control. It wasn't about the individual names. However, as you said, these little ones tend to do their own thing anyway.
Yeah, but during COVID it was a little bit different because even though the macroeconomic and the situation, the geopolitical situation and everything was similar, but we had specific sectors moving a lot with a lot of small caps. We're talking about vaccines, we're talking about masks, we're talking about a lot of small sectors moving, compound by a lot of small caps. So it was very, very profitable market, not only in big companies, but because of the different sectors that got active, like tourism, flying companies, and all these things. So it was a very nice, was different in the subprime crisis because the sectors that were involved were big sectors like banking mainly. So that was different. You had to trade those tickers. During the COVID, you have a bunch of different stocks moving every day.
And it just emphasizes the importance of understanding, from a higher perspective, what's happening with the overall market. All right, let's get into a few names here. I just did a quick scan over, the list that I look at as far as gappers go. I mean, they're mostly on the very, very small end of things that I'm seeing anyways, even sub $1 this morning. Anything jumping out here at you?
Yeah, for the last couple of weeks, we are having a lot of sub-dollar tickers. I'm not a big fan of these tickers. If they are close to $1, it's okay, but below 50 or 60 cents, I don't like so much. So today, I pick up a couple of them. It's OMEX. This one is 150% up. Right now, it's trading 2.9, 2.10. It has a very good news of merger part of the company. It seems like part of the company is going to merge with another one. And they're talking also about a reverse split, 25-1 reverse split. So this is very difficult because, sometimes some miscalculations or some expectations of what could happen, it could make the stock fly up. So we're going to sort this one only if we see new highs failing. So lower highs, we have a very good resistance here to 30 to 40. So we're going to sort this one, but with very tight and very hard stops if the volume comes in on the upside, because another breakout, it could be very dangerous because of the reverse split and because of the merger. Okay, but short this one with hard stop, and if it falls below VWAP, we are more confident on this one.
So something like an OMEX, I did see there was a relatively small float on it as well. How much weighting are you actually giving to the news versus something like a technical aspect like that, the float?
Well, look, it's 60 million float. It's not that low for us. I mean, it's a 100 million company only, $100 million, but it's 60 million shares. It's not that float. We're not talking about 1 or 2 million float, which would have been nano float for us. So 60 million is okay. It's true that it's trading a lot. It's traded already 80 million shares. So it is okay. The rotation is there. It's one time the whole company traded over one time. So news and very hard to stop with the break of 220 to 30.
220, 230. We'll keep an eye out for OMEX. What's next here on your list?
Next would be BVGI. The stock has already gone up. Let me show you here. It has gone up a lot and fall. So this is another different setup. We are waiting this for what we call a VWAP rejection. The stock has already gone up. It has already been destroyed. So we are waiting this stock to pop out 586, 620. That's our loading area for the shorts. And it should reject VWAP and keep fading during the day. So VWAP rejection on this one against this 610s in 630s price.
We've had many conversations on the impact of the overall market here. When we're in a situation where, I mean, it's a big day, let's be honest, for what is going to happen on the overall market perspective. Is it one of those days maybe you might think less is more here today, or if you see, something you want to see, it's still game on?
No, yeah, of course, the trader has to adapt to the market, and if we see other chances in the USO or any other companies, we will also look to the hot sectors and to the market. We will not trade blue chips if they have no specific news, only because it's going up or down. It's not our strategy. We need some other check marks to trade, like floats, country, VWAPs, and all these things. So it is not that it's good. It's strong. I know Sean and Neil, they are masters doing these kind of trending stocks and following the trend and following the whole market. It's not our strategy. We will base on what is in play today, and we are going to look for another couple of tickers that were in play yesterday. For example, like this ELAB. Okay, this is very interesting stock as well. It's a different play. It's called a third red day long pullback. The stock has gone up a lot and it has gone down. Look, these 3 red days in a run after a big movement up. We're looking for longs on this one. It's another setup. We already started long yesterday because it was the 3rd red day. We took a nice long here, and today we're looking for continuation on this one. And the other 2 are Sky. There was a crazy yesterday. Okay, moving up a lot, breaking pre-market highs and highs of previous day. And today we're waiting for a pop near $6 to short this one all the way down to $2. And last one, it could be nice, but we don't have locates on this one. IXI, the craziest stock, yesterday broke $1 previous day with 1.2 billion shares traded. Yesterday trade 700 million, but the price was 5 times higher than the day before. So the total volume traded was huge, and it was a very nice liquidity trap on the short side. Everyone was squeezed on the short side. Today, I would love to short this one against these 2 round number dollar, but we don't have locates. A little bit expensive.
Luis, great stuff. Back with us at lunchtime today. We'll look forward to that. Best of luck at the Open this morning.
Absolutely. Is Sharif coming back from holidays, or he's
still on a beach somewhere? We haven't heard from him for a while, so tomorrow apparently.
Okay, so guys, see you later.
Luis, don't worry. We get to have a conversation, talk about a couple of the small cap names. Yesterday, AIXI, a fantastic one. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with the telecommunications. A lot here on the downgrades and one on the upgrades as well, too. We're going to start off with AT&T. Getting the downgrade here, guys, a neutral weight rating with a price target of $28. You're down 2.25 here this morning, and the ticker is T. Broadcom getting the downgrade as well, too, going from a buy to a neutral rate by Seaport Research, but surprisingly, we're up 4.3% here this morning as well, too. Now, Verizon Wireless down 1% here, guys, with a $52 price target. Going from a buy to a hold rating by DBS Bank. And then we have Coinbase as well, up 5% almost here this morning. Price target being lowered from $148 to $140. Now we have T-Mobile up here on the upgrades list, guys, 1.3% on the day. Price target increased to $254 and a buy rating as well by MoffettNathanson. And then we also have UnitedHealth Group getting the nod. You're up a little bit more than 1.25. HSBC giving them the nod with a price target of $300 and a rating up to hold from reduce. Now, John Deere also getting the nod, up 3.6%. A lot of green across the board here, guys. Price target to $550 with a hold rating by Jefferies. And then Viasat as well, up 7% here, guys. A substantial price increase, $23 to $49 by Barclays.
Look, I prefer Caterpillar to Deere, but you can't really argue that you've got a really good trend breakout here on John Deere. This is not a day trading stock, but let's be real for a second. Quality company that got beaten up with the rest of the market, double bottomed, retook the 50-period moving average, and is all systems go. I just think with Caterpillar didn't really dip all that far, riding the 50. It's a breakout too, but this is literally 1 day away from getting back to its highs, whereas at least you've got some runway with Deere there. So getting some headlines there, and Iran armed forces saying they're managing the Strait of Hormuz, which we know, and controlling it. So we still need to see it open back up. We still have to hammer at all points of this deal. There's still a lot that has to happen, but good news, almost every sector. I mean, whatever. I'm going to pull up a bunch of charts, and they're all going to look really good. To say that John Deere looks fantastic, there's probably a lot of stocks that are doing a similar thing, but this one's probably a little safer, I would think, than some of the gainers that you're going to see. They're up like 10%. Like, I feel much better about a solid company like this at these prices than chasing some of these other gaps.
Yeah, the name that I liked there with a little bit of oomph to it, we got to get it going. That was UNH. You get that upgrade. We got the Medicare deal a couple days ago. That started to break out back to the upside again, and you kind of like get that garbage out of here. We've already seen UNH have this move down. It came right back into levels that we had seen supported before. So this 260, 270 seems great to me. And there it goes again. I mean, you got to know more about the space than just to sit in here and go and buy it immediately. But I don't mind UNH here up to the 200 period moving average right now. So something to look at today, a name that's not going yet, that I think if we can take out this these tops, that's just basically 314. So where are we at right now? All right, so we need a couple more bucks to go, and then UNH, I think taking out this top, 313.50, why not? A good little level there to look at in the pre-market. 313.50 on UNH on an upgrade and on good news. So I like that stock right there. Thanks, Joe. I like that look at the big screen. Hit the like, hit the subscribe and everything like that. And yeah, you got Obi and Joe on the midday with Luis today. So get ready for that action. Adara, Sia, everybody's ready to rock and roll. And we're excited to have you guys here with what should be a very busy news day once again. We talked about how crazy yesterday was. Today should repeat. There's already tons of things flying around right now. So crude going lower, market trying to go higher right now. This is what USO looks like. We can look at crude, the CL contract, and whatever you want, but there it is right now, looking to take out the pre-market lows right here as, the straight talking about getting reopened. We talked about this 2-week ceasefire right now, so watching out for 118. That's the low of the day right now on USO. We'll see if we can break it now down just 14%. So, all right, let's go back over to the desk and what to talk about. Our watch list is out if you're looking for some ideas as well. You can follow us on Twitter and get those ideas there too. So, yeah, let's go back over and see what they're talking about.
I was just going through this. Here is the dollar index. I was just reading a note from Bloomberg saying their dollar index was down more than 2%, but DXY just a measly 1% on the day if you go out to a daily time frame. And remember, this thing was down better part of 0.5% yesterday. So 1.5% in less than 24 hours here for the dollar back to the downside in a big way. If you go to some of the yields looking very similar, that's the 10-year. If you go further out on the curve, that's the 30-year on a daily chart back below 485 this morning. So as the guys are mentioning to lead things off here, I mean, we started the week saying maybe no cuts into 2027. Now it looks like one at least potentially back on the board.
I think we'll also get a little bit more of a sense of how the Feds are feeling. And again, it's a little bit tough because these FOMC minutes are always going to be a little bit retroactive, of course, because these are going back to March 18th of 2026. But it'll be interesting to kind of see what the Feds thought then. And then if we get any Fed speak throughout the day or throughout the coming days, that actually gives us maybe a little bit more of a dovish sense of things. Now, about an hour before the Fed minutes, we are supposed to get comments from Feds Daily, who has been kind of on the more dovish side as of late. So it'll be interesting to see if anything that she says kind of buoys the market or impacts these rate expectations here. But either way, should be an interesting one to watch. And I think also kind of shows why these Fed minutes are not always the most useful gauge, because it is, we've had a massive shock here too.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much irrelevant when you come in on a day like today and everything's completely different, even from 12 hours ago. Just seeing a note here from Iranian state TV. First ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz with Iran's permission after the ceasefire currently. So they were saying initially it was Thursday, Friday, potentially, before we get this going. But looks like right now there's a few ships actually passing through the Strait. So that's good to hear. Levi Strauss, we mentioned right off the top, if you're with us at 8 o'clock. If you're not joining us at 8 o'clock, make sure you do so. There were a few earnings names to deal with today. One of them, Levi Strauss, actually just tagged session highs here, coming back in a little bit. $22 though coming into play on a better than expected report here for Levi.
Yeah, not a bad look here for LEVI. They came in here with net revenue rather, of $1.7 billion for the quarter. That's going to be up 14% year over year. Every region actually had decent growth. You've got 9% year-over-year growth in their Americas region. Europe up 24% year-over-year. Asia up 13% year-over-year. So year-over-year revenue growth here across the board. Their direct-to-consumer revenue happened to rise by 16%. You've got DTC growth 10% in the U.S., 19% in Europe. So strong regional and segment growth across the board for LEVI this quarter. This is a report that you get the sense we generally would have probably been trading higher on anyway, regardless of what happened with the Middle East.
Everybody still needs jeans.
So.
We touched on the airline portion of the travel aspect here with crude oil off a cliff this morning going to be benefiting airlines definitely. But here's CCL as well, another one that just made a recent session high, 28 bucks, pulling back from that right now. But huge move here for some of the cruise lines on this also.
Yeah, because I mean, I think we forget, like it makes sense a lot of these airlines are going to trade higher, but CCL, RCL, NCLH, anything, again, in that fuel space. I know Neil looks at these a lot. This is also another way to play this. I'm sure we'll talk about Delta earnings later, but in general, this travel space really hot today.
Yeah, it's worth noting, as you mentioned, Delta with earnings also better than expected, especially on the demand side going forward, actually looked really good for them. So Delta back to 74.50 here at the high. So airlines, travel names, guys, looking great.
And I think at least with Delta, probably to a larger extent, Levi's, which you mentioned first, and not so much with CCL. If something reverses us in the market today, remember that in the case of Levi's, they were trending up going into the report. They were up on the report last night, and then you're just simply gapping a little bit further. So if the market were to come back and there was enough selling off that got everyone scared, this would be a name that, hey, if it pulls back to 21, well, that's where it got to on its own after market on the earnings beat. Delta to a lesser extent, if and only because obviously it's being in the airline space, the beat for them is big, but they were going to get some benefit here as well, just being a travel name. It feels a little bit difficult. We said this was very unlikely that if they beat, you were going to get any chance at a reasonable breakout price on Delta because of the news. If it came out, it wouldn't matter if the news was bad last night, if they had beat. And if the news was good and they beat, then it was probably going to end up too high, which is, I think, almost exactly the case. I don't think it's a chase up here. That's why it brings me back to CCL. And that's where I started with. This is kind of in the first inning move of a consolidation break. It sat here for a month, 23.5 bucks to 26.5 bucks. This is our first day getting out of here. But the resistance turning into support idea has a long gap that can get filled. So if we lose the bid, there's a lot of patience for this. But as long as it's holding above that gap, on that daily chart, it's going to look bullish. So as long as it can hold on to this gap, I think you're good to go. I said 26.5. It's probably closer to 60 or 70, but you're still $1 away. But remember, these things are this is gapped 10% higher. So the notion of it pulling back 2 times what you might think is a normal good day's move shouldn't be out of the ordinary. If we do see a bit of a dip, it could be, the candles will be a little bit more harsh unless you're zooming out. So just keep that in mind. But I do like this play here in CCL, barring anything catastrophic. Obviously, you got to keep your eyes on oil prices, right? You don't want to be sitting on the bid if all of a sudden you just saw some $5 green candle on USO. But barring that not happening, 26.5 looks good.
I was just going to go to, I mean, I like the travel names. I was going to say this, one of the strongest travel names that I can sometimes relate with would be Uber. It's just, with more, I don't know, with gas prices coming back in, I mean, it's more money hopefully now for the drivers. They don't have to, worry about a surcharge or anything like that with some of the prices here that continue to go higher, more travel. Better for Uber, people get into the hotels looking for some Ubers. They got that going. Heading into the summer months as well, more people heading out on the streets, whatever, taking cars, drinking, all that kind of stuff. Uber, I think, is a winner in this space, and now finally above the 50-period moving average. We have not been above. I mean, hopefully we don't have this situation again where this happens, but let's just say we get a little bit more momentum here. This is the first time we've been above the 50-period moving average since November. Right now on Uber. So I'm going to flash the awesome and the bullish gifts here on Uber right now. Above the 50-period moving average. Let's hope that we can close there. And then I think we springboard up and we get that garbage out of here and get back up to the 50-period moving average, or the 200-period moving average here at 86 bucks. So I like Uber here. I think it's been beat up enough. And there's a lot of good stories behind this name. We know the automation. We got some stories yesterday from Amazon. In relation with Uber as well, NVIDIA with the autonomous chips. and then just everything else that they're working on, right? And we do know that there is some hangover with Robotaxi and Waymo, but we'll have to wait to see how that eventually pans out for Uber. I like it, and I think it's a risk-on day for Uber today, breaking above the 50-period moving average. So my travel stock of the day would be Uber. Yeah, man, I mean, it's a big one there. Just seeing some notes here. There's not really much going on that's as of late. Just sort of the ceasefire there. Iran said that if any action taken by Israel would also be a break of this agreement, and they will not seem kindly towards the U.S. if that happens either. So hopefully there is some sort of continuation with this, with the nations that are mostly affected there in the Middle East, right? So it's easy to say, like right here, it's all good. There's no missiles flying over here. Hopefully Israel and Iran can play nice and we can get a continuation move here for the rest of the day. NASDAQ's still up 3.5%. I mean, that's really all that matters right now. We did have a move down, and we just see right now USO was getting close to breaking. We said that was 1805 was the low. I mean, we're right in there right now. So looks like the market is respecting so far this move and maybe wants to even get it going lower. So just getting the note out now, it's 8:55. We can go back over the desk and start our rundown possibly. That watch list is available for free. Check the link in description. It has a bunch of names on there, the economic releases. I don't think we have many economic releases today, actually. And then earnings releases, what to expect after hours, and a couple market moving notes. So.
And there's oil inventories today, but let's be real, like the headlines are going to matter more than crude oil inventories. That usually just matters if you want to know it's at 10:30, because if you're trading, you don't want to be freaking out if you're sitting there in like BNO, or you're trading USO or whatever, the SCO, which is the reverse. Maybe you're short oil or something like that, and then the inventories come out. Like the book just goes nowhere. The book evaporates for a couple of minutes. That'll be at 10:30, and then Fed minutes I think is going to be a bit of a nothing burger. It is SCO. Yeah, that's right. Because I think there's probably a lot of traders that will look at USO and $118 and see that spread at times that'll open up. And then SCO allows you to maybe express the short trade in the long. It's not like 8 million shares today. So I think there'll be probably a lot of traders on this one as well. So make sure you're paying attention around 10:30. I don't expect that inventory numbers are going to be that big of a deal with what we're dealing with here. But I was just looking at a different name. There's so many things that are gapped up.
Oh, yeah.
That the percentages are absolutely insane. And some of them, look, obviously you're beaten up, you're up. We've gotten over that. But there's a ceasefire and something has fundamentally changed for SMR. Like what? Like there's some names, look at it. One of those, I don't know what the quantum names are doing, but as far as like some of the nuclear hope and pray names, this one's been trending down like pretty precipitously and very gently to the downside. This gap up doesn't even, you're not even back to the open from yesterday. That's how bad it was, and it's slightly trending down. Like little things like this. We have locates? Yeah, we do. It's free locates on that one. Little things like this, like if it can't even get back above 10 where it was in yesterday's trade, like it's getting this relief rally, and some will probably be more deserved than others. And if you start to fall back in, like this is exactly the kind of name that I'd be looking for, that if there's profit taking coming in there, how about something that is not as affected by all of this exuberance as you might think? Okay, so you might say, but everything goes up because there's less chance of recession risk and all that kind of, oh, that's great. SMR doesn't make money. So what difference does that make to them? Literally doesn't matter, right? So they're just getting the gap up on almost like on a pure sympathy as far as I can tell. So if the futures lose contain, this under 10 makes a heck of a lot of sense. I want to make sure we had some locates on it. And there's probably other names out there that you can make the same kind of logical argument.
Did you have to pay for that one?
No, it's actually, it's free today. You could make the argument that like why would a quantum name be up as much? The differentiation I would make is when I look at like something like a Rigetti, this is broken out through resistance. So maybe there's some shorts that are like, let's get out of here. You're making some higher lows, and the chart doesn't look that much better. But if you're making the distinction, like SMR was underneath yesterday's open price, so clearly it couldn't bust through. This is gapping through resistance, which is the only reason I brought up SMR. But you can make the argument that quantum is up for no reason. Milan Milano just mentioned, oh no, so it was Holly NYC, just mentioning again about Avis being down. That's a weird one, because I can't, other than the fact this has been squeezing higher for the last couple of days, and money has other places to have gone overnight, that could be the reason. Outside of that, who knows? Like, it's been good. This is not made rational sense for 3 weeks. So if it's going to be down 4% into an up market, it's not like the stock was trading with any kind of reasonable correlation. It's just been squeezing higher. So money has somewhere else to go. Maybe that's the end of the run for car. But I guess if you've been on Avis or any of the other rental names lately, you've been doing pretty well. So I don't think anybody's crying that's long this stock, or that had been.
All right, real quick before we get into the watch list here, there was this note on SoFi this morning that came out much earlier, 6:30 or so. This was being talked about over the past couple of days, but I guess officially rolling out this big business banking platform. Say that 5 times fast. SoFi up anyways with the overall market, but lots of people going to be keeping an eye on this one this morning, back above some key levels for SoFi as well. Let's get into everything else we need to know here this morning if you haven't done so yet. Down below in the description right now is the link for the watch list. Second link in the description will get you to the sign up page. As always, use your email and you can have that for free. Has everything on it you need to know every single morning. And then you come join us at 8 o'clock. We'll get you set for the open. Here is XLE right now. You can pull up oil. I mean, 18+% right now for WTI. That's the energy sector ETF. XLE getting absolutely cracked here this morning. Trying to hold 57 right now, but is it a let's see what happens at the open and maybe buy some of these just because they're down too much? I don't know yet.
Well, apparently, if WTI closes below 14.52% to the downside, it'll actually be its worst daily performance since April 27th, 2020. So this is like, just to contextualize the extent of this weakness. Long story short, in case you missed it, we know that President Trump's deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz was 8 p.m. yesterday. Around 3 p.m. yesterday, leader of Pakistan got involved, basically said, hey, President Trump and Iran, can you guys please both agree to a 2-week ceasefire? Both parties agreed with an hour or so to go ahead of that 8 p.m. deadline. But since, we have had apparently at least a partial reopening of the Strait of Hormuz earlier than Iran promised, but President Trump is out here still saying that there'll be 50% tariffs on any country that I believe does weapons dealings with Iran. So tensions do still exist, but I guess the alleviation of these tensions has led to a drop in U.S. oil.
No, it's a good point. I mean, there's headlines both indicating that there's still rockets being fired at this point, and then on the other side of things, the first ships, going through successfully through the Strait of Hormuz. So what to believe today is going to be the key. Crude oil getting absolutely crushed. If you want to have a look at that daily chart, as the guys were mentioning earlier, we're right back to some of these key levels on a higher time frame for oil. Unbelievable. 18.1% right now downside.
Sir, and this next hour going into the open is going to be brought to you by a biotech and life sciences company that can be put on your radar, and that's Medicus Pharma. Ticker is MDCX. Medicus focuses on accelerating the clinical development of novel and potentially disruptive therapeutic assets that serve large target markets. Right now, they have 2 portfolio companies, SkinJect, which is developing a non-invasive regimen to treat skin cancer, and Antev, which is developing Tverlix for acute urinary retention and cardiovascular high-risk prostate cancer. What's interesting is Medicus looks to advance therapies through phase 2 studies while pursuing licensing and strategic partnerships with larger pharmaceutical companies that can then move these therapies through late-stage development and commercialization. It's a collaborative and very capital-efficient development model, and as clinical studies become more complex, Medicus provides the structure and support needed to help bring these innovative therapies to patients who are waiting. It's definitely a company to watch. Thank you them for sponsoring this part of the show. And another low just got made, so USO, the lower it goes, the better the market looks. We've already had one little bit of a push and reversion, and then, remember, it was just essentially you had a headline about a drone attack on a Saudi Arabian pipeline, and that caused us to go up $3. So I think we could see a little bit more of that every time we get maybe a little bit of a wrinkle headline, there can be this bit of a pop and fade idea going in there. One name that I'll be looking at for that is, I thought we could fill the gap. Oil has a tendency to sometimes move on its own for a while, which it was doing earlier before it rejected 16 again 4 days in a row, but now we're at new levels. So got to look at the prior support to resistance. It's already gone up there once at 15, but that's the area that I'll be looking for. Any pops in oil, and I think boil at the 15 level. If it goes again and we wait for 15.50, I think that one, because it had been relatively weak, and when oil futures were making fresh highs, this was not making fresh highs. I want to be fading the pops in USO over in this vehicle here.
Yeah, I was looking at the same thing with, I was looking at JP Morgan, by the way, just trying to see what the banks are up to, man. That was 280 up to 305, so we really like that. With bank earnings season next week, starting on the 14th, so we're back to next Wednesday, and we get, sorry, the 14th is Monday. Earnings, what day is today? Wednesday, Tuesday. Yeah, so here we go, man. I mean, as Neil mentioned, we did get that little bit of a bump up, and now you just took down the low. So, yeah, I think it's a short. I mean, I don't know what else to say. You know, Israel's making me a little nervous, but I'm not, you know, I'm not scared of it. And I just think that, you know, oil's a very levered product, right? There's a lot of traders that are in triple levered ETFs or, you know, playing this obviously with options. And this move down 14% could really start to get, you know, elevated. We could be down 20% or so. Adara mentioned this is the lowest move or the largest move down. I think it was since 2020, I believe. Adara had mentioned there. So, but anyways, there's the break. I always say, like, when there's the gap, you got to play the VWAP. And that's it right there, man, 120. So I would say we wait for that kind of a move to happen. Or, I mean, I don't really want to get into anything in the first 5 minutes, but the thing about oil is time is just a number for this name. It's trading right now active. So, you know, no problem getting into USO, even as we speak right now. But I think you want to wait for a move like this where we do get a little bit of a bump up and people start to panic out of their shorts. And that's when we want to wait for these pops. So I put another discussion out about, you know, sort of what my intraday playbook's going to look like today, and we don't want to chase. Basically, it's almost the opposite way right there for oil. Right, we don't want to chase the tank. We want to wait until we can get a rip up. The same thing. Wait till maybe a retracement long on the Nasdaq, but you guys can go read this. So I'm just going to wait for a little bit of a move up, and I think the first area to look at is this 120 where VWAP lasts and sits, right? And I'd rather trade USO than, you know, XOM or Occidental or anything like that. Neil mentioned that there was that battle stock as well. That's a name that we could definitely look at. Look at Occidental down 9%, right? Trying to give back everything that's made this month. 55 could be a good hold level there. We're nowhere near that yet. And then just because I talked about it, and we have a super chat you can throw up at any moment, we can start talking about that. And there's Battle down 23%. So again, another name that is right at these levels, which could bounce. I mean, finally, you're at the 200 period on Battle. It only went to $35. Now you're down to $3 again, and potentially a level to look at right here as we sort of ramped up the Iran discussions there. So maybe there is something down here at 250 or so for BATL. All right, there it is. What's up, VWA? We like, VWAP. VWAP.AZZ. We like that one. That's a good one. You hit a 3-leg parlay last night, or on Monday night. Good job there. $79. So,
what were the other 2 legs? Because obviously Michigan was chalk.
Maybe it was the under. I don't know. Maybe you got, I don't know. What was that guy's name? Caravan? Maybe you had some Caravan points going on there. But hey, that's another way to make money, man. Shout out to DraftKings and FanDuel and all that. If you love to gamble and you're a trader, you probably are in the right space. So, you know, we'll try to put on some, you know, better odds than parlays, especially 3-leg parlays. But yeah, for DraftKings is a good stock. We said that. I think that with the federal ruling making some of these, what do they call it, the contract betting or whatever they call that, prediction markets, more.
And they got some bad press too.
Yeah, so
they got some pressure on them.
We'll see what happens with DraftKings.
I love the next thing on the rundown.
All right, buy everything.
Well, not everything.
Almost.
A, you can't buy everything, and B, not everything is going to be relatively strong today or have good reasons to hold up. Let's try to parse through it as we continue on the rundown.
I was reading a note here on Meta. I mean, this has been talked about before, but Meta up more than 5% this morning. It's worth noting, stronger than the overall market. Talking about open sourcing their, if that's a verb, their next LLM version, which they've gone down that path before, I believe, and then they ended up shelving, was it Avocado?
Yes.
Or toast. I don't know. But yeah, 5+% here for Meta on the morning. It didn't move on that, but worth noting, I guess they're still working on some sort of LLM.
Yeah, interesting look here for Meta. And I like that you brought that up, Brennan, because the performance of these different Mag 7 stocks compared to the NASDAQ is worth noting. You've got Microsoft, which is like above this pre-market high from Monday, significantly so. Meta, of course, also is doing that. But Tesla, still as of right now, below Monday's pre-market high. And if you look at the NASDAQ, of course, NASDAQ's just completely blowing all of it out of the water. So within this overall tech strength, it's worth just, keeping an eye on what's outwardly strong and what's maybe a little bit weaker or a bit lagging. I also want to mention here, of course, within the buy everything's mostly strong, but CoreWeave actually got a negative rating maintained this morning, even with all of this hullabaloo with tech. So just be aware, there could be some negative catalysts just lurking just below the surface and certain names to be aware of.
So one of those, I know it says buy everything, but one of those days where you can kind of throw a dart and find something relatively strong at this point, guys. Tech seems to be, a space where they're going to go first, potentially, if the all clear is, in fact, the all clear. Meta, as we were saying, one of those. Lots of people talking about SoFi this morning as well. One of those days, what are we buying?
Well, I think not everything. Like, we was talking about things like that, the SMR. Like, there's definitely stuff out there that I'm like, why is it up? And why should it be breaking its trend? And I can not wrap my head around it. But in some cases, like Intel's making a 52-week high break as we speak. It had the positive news yesterday. You saw Lip Boo shaking hands with Elon because they're going to be a part of Terafab, and that'll give them a boost. Probably revenue is going to be a little bit out for them, but this is a company that's turning itself around, and another fresh high just got made. If you lose that 50, it's like 54.5, which is the prior top. If you lose that, there is a pretty sizable gap here for Intel. So it would be incumbent to try to hold on to the pre-market lows here on INTC, because you don't you go back and you've got the prior high on the daily, which is 54.5, and you've got the pre-market lows. And outside of those two levels, then it's like fill the gap in the entirety of the way. So there's no fighting beneath 54.50. But I would say, just on the other end of that, and not to beat a dead horse, I'm skeptical of some stocks. Like, if I see SMR up 7.5%, why? If there's a topping tail candle on this thing, there's a good example. Don't look at yesterday. Look at 2 days ago. If it does this at the open, where you make right after the open, it does any kind of double top or false breakout of prior highs, and I see lower highs coming back in, then it's to me, that's a stock that's an all-day short, because I'm why is it even up 7%? If it was up 2%, I wouldn't be saying this. But the fact that it was up that much and not through yesterday's high, show me some topping tails, that's a reverse. But I prefer something with good news. Intel has good news and more of a reason to try to continue, even if the market decides it's not going to be as strong as we think it is right now.
Look, I will have to beat a dead horse, because my number one stock today, as you guys asked, Intel, right there, 53.50s to 53s. 53 to 53.50 is where I'm looking right now on Intel. We can look over there. IBIT, we're going to talk about that next. And then I like Palantir, so we'll switch it up. But Intel's the only name I'm bidding right now. So there you go. I like the catalyst of the 52-week high break and the news flow. Intel's news flow has been amazing. I haven't seen a stock too much get too many great stories like Intel's been. If you take away Marvell, which we could talk about right now as well. But I like a 151, and I don't know if the market's going to dip at all today, but generally, thank you, Randy, right there. We are going to try to buy the dips, and I'll try to reach over and get that coffee today. But the reason why I really like Palantir when the market is risk on. So, Palantir only up 3.5%. I think it can go more than that. The fact that it's only up the same as the NASDAQ gets me excited. So maybe 153.50 could be a level there as well for PLTR. So I do not mind that into there. Randy, we're having a big day today. We can check out Rivian, because Randy's right here right now. Tesla's had some nice dip down buy opportunities as well. Rivian today up 4% as we wait for that R2. And it's just trying to find a base. And it looks like we might have found one. 35 miles, that's 500 kilometers or so about. Okay, Randy giving me the details here on the R2, but it's still not available in Canada until 27, apparently. So I got to roll around in the Atlas for a little bit more. $14 right there as a low for Rivian. We like that stock. Tesla could be a buy today as well. I mean, again, talk about another name that's a cult following right here. It's Tesla, although I got to get rid of that wick all the way to the downside. There we go. And that's going to affect VWAP, so I'm going to fix that. But 362, maybe a nice pre-market low take on Tesla. I think that could be something there as well. Watch out for the break higher as this market really gets juiced up, ready to go. We did not look at the imbalance locator yet. Why don't we just have a quick little look on this right now? There's really nothing here of any significant size. XOM with maybe a little bit of a sell. That's to be expected there. Occidental with a sell as well. NEO. Not much. There's BBAI. Yeah, get back to $4, guy. Right now, we'll see if that's doing anything. I know there's a lot of traders that bought this near that $3 mark. So we'll see if Big Bear AI can get going. So other than that, man, pretty slow day there on the imbalance locator. I think what we're all trying to say is the same thing, and that is not to get super excited right off the open. All my targets, like I don't really have anything that I'm like, I can't wait for the market to open and I just want to buy. We've been shell-shocked for a while. I think the market could definitely pull something back in. And would we be surprised if the NASDAQ was up 2.5% today? I mean, I think that would be
good.
I think that would be a great day, but then you're going to have to suffer through some pain in the long early or whenever that move happens back to the downside. So let's be a little patient with it, have a sip of coffee, and go talk about some crypto.
Making a move right now. In fact, here's Bitcoin back to basically pre-market highs here for both IBIT and BTC on the left of screen there for you. 41.20, I guess it was, that came into play, or 41.25 came into play on the news last night for IBIT and BTC. Same level, obviously, above 72,750 back into play here this morning.
We've seen a lot as of late, Brendan. I think that Bitcoin really trading along with the market when you get these market-wide catalysts like this, like we mentioned, this, of course, is going to be one of those market-wide catalysts. I do want to mention a bit of a negative standalone catalyst here for Coinbase, for whatever it's worth. Barclays this morning came out, downgraded Coinbase from equal weight to underweight. They cut their price target to $140. They basically said that according to their model and what they're seeing, Coinbase's trading volumes in Q1 were pretty low in March. Average daily volume actually was at its lowest level since September 2024. So like year and a half lows. They find that a bit concerning. They're also cutting their adjusted EBITDA projections for Q1 2026. So a bit of a rough look here for COIN, though, again, as I mentioned, it's still trading higher overall with crypto. That being said, if there is a change in crypto, just be aware of this catalyst.
74.75 being eyed here on a higher time frame potentially over the next couple of days. Maybe not today. We're already up huge here, but pre-market high is coming into play here, guys, right now.
Well, it already broke this local top at talking about IBIT, I shouldn't say it already. We're talking crypto. So Bitcoin broke 72K. IBIT broke this prior high here at 40.80. So unless you could dip back into that. I also have like the dip level that I set was obviously if it's 70,000 would be a nice line. The 40 level is a big one on IBIT. 40.50 is the pre-market lows, which matter a little bit, but maybe not as much with that breakthrough. It just so happens that 40.80 is VWAP, so that could be a nice little place to go dip and rip here on IBIT. But don't forget, like BMNR, ETH, they're all going to be in play. You just got to sort of pick your vehicle and go with it. The interesting thing about that, that Coinbase with the downgrade makes me a little skeptical with them, because they're another name that's breaking out this 50 period. There's a lot of stocks that are doing this, breaking out that 50 period, and there's a lot of places you can go. I feel better about Hood, which hasn't even done it yet, than Coin. Not that I'm chasing either. I'll probably be trading IBIT, but I think a few of these names, and sort of pick which one you like better. If you're holding 70,000 and if this 2-week ceasefire holds, then I kind of like this Robinhood down here. Now, I've already decided. I bought Robinhood once for the first time when we're holding. It bounced off that 70 level. I think I got it. I don't know if it was the second day or maybe the second time it came through, because it was about 78. I think it was in here that I did it. But I'm going to be looking to add to this. I really only put in a small position that I want to build into. And if it retakes the 50 period, I do like them more than I like Coinbase right now. But it hasn't broken the 50 period, whereas Coinbase has. But I'll be trading IBIT today, but the long term has me thinking maybe early next week should be a good time for Hood to finally break that 50 period. Maybe he does it today. It's just not there yet.
Yeah, we bought some Bitcoin at 66, so that's going to be a nice little 10% move right here. This is a recent story out of Iran right now. They're looking to get $1 per barrel toll, and they want it paid in crypto. So you do have, that's probably this bump up right here that just happened in and around 9.910. So that's interesting there as well. Not trusting obviously their own monetary systems over there. Would rather have it in crypto than in USD or whatever they're going to charge. So that's a little bit of a bump up there. I wrote down, and it's on the note today at 39.75 on the sticky note, and I wrote it down because that's where the 200 period was when I was writing this note. It was down into here, right? And now you're all the way up at $40, 40.25. I'm still looking for that. I'm still looking for 200 period moving averages. Like, I'm not even really, I am looking at VWAP, but just early. These are early looks, right? If the market sort of just hangs out and we only have 10 minutes until we open up, and again, Bitcoin doesn't really matter if the market opens other than the fact that it will follow the NASDAQ. So we'll have to wait to see what happens right there. You can see the NASDAQ pulling just a little bit, Bitcoin pulling a little bit here. So that's going to be something interesting to watch to see if the whole market gives it up. If it does, I think I'd rather go into Bitcoin long than the TQs. I don't have the NASDAQ written down as a long today because there's so many names that have to sort of participate in this rally to make it hold. I'd rather just go with Bitcoin. It doesn't rely on anything other than the NASDAQ. So we'll wait to see if that comes back into here, into $40.50 or so. Could be a little pre-market support area, but I'm not going to guess on it. I'm going to wait and let the levels develop for myself. Like, if we just start to barcode and I'm thinking long, I'm just going to go long and use the bottom. But for right now, we're kind of just topping out, right? So let's be very, very specific with what we're doing and wait for some sort of and it'll give it to you, right? Like, you don't necessarily, yesterday we wrote down, believe it or not, 38.25 on Bitcoin. That was pretty much the very low. And like, if this is what happens today, where we make that low and I miss this move up, well, then now we have a base that we can play off of. And that's kind of the stuff that I'm looking for, is let it give me a reason to buy. And right now, the only reason I have, although VWAP is a good one, it's a little too close. It's only 30 cents away right now. I am going to wait for the 200 period, which is at $40. So I think that's the best thing to do right now for me on IBIT, is wait around and see.
We got T-Money with a super chat. 2-week ceasefire is not permanent. That's not good. It's not as good as, look, 45 days. The 45 days that everyone was looking for, I shouldn't say everyone, that was being looked for, obviously would be better. But it's better than the alternative, which is why the market's up. And for now, you're trending down on oil futures. It does not mean that all of this is over. There's a lot that has to be hammered out. There's a lot of demands on both sides, specifically by Iran, that maybe they get met, maybe they don't. So we're not out of the woods yet, but the metals are again looking strong, because last I checked, the Dixie's bouncing off lows, but it was just the US dollar was just at some lows, bouncing now, which has been good for the metals.
Yeah, once again, we're floating in a gap. However, if you zoom out here on SLV specifically, up here at $70, back above this entire lower range over the past couple of weeks for SLV. Just be aware as well, there's more comments coming through here from Iranian parliament officials that, quite frankly, don't sound entirely peaceful at this point. So, back and forth we go. So, we're higher significantly for both SLV and gold at the moment, but who knows what the next tweet will bring.
And I was going to say, another thing that I noticed this morning as well was even Vice President J.D. Vance said that President Trump is, quote, impatient to have some kind of, other finalization happen with the U.S. and Iran. And he furthermore accused Iranian officials of lying about the deal. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. I do want to point out the discrepancy between SLV and GLD. SLV, as you mentioned, nice gap up here. GLD, though, actually decently below its pre-market high. So certainly not weak by any means, but not showing the exact same amount of strength as we're seeing with silver.
If there's a play to be had, though, guys, the SLV side of things definitely, in the past anyways, has been by far the more volatile.
I think from a trading aspect, I think we've all established that if you're looking for more intraday action, you're going to look at SLV over GLD. That's not controversial. Even within gold futures, you're probably more concerned about the miners that are going to move more. You might be more excited for like a Highcroft or something. I think that was up like 10% to, I think GLD was maybe 3. So SLV's up 5. It's gapped through 69. I want to try to keep it relatively simple here. Like, you're breaking this nice little consolidation where we had a wick high up at like $69. As long as it holds 69, it's in the good books. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if we ended up with this type of a day, just not looking at yesterday, like this kind of a day here that we saw on Monday, where you had not an entirely range-bound day, but for the most part, it was more in the 2% back and forth. I could see that. And if we do, that's the 69 holding that bottom. Want to look long there. It already has a bit of a topping tail look to it, where we failed 70 and are pulling back in, which means patience till it finds that bottom at 69. And then, of course, you got to we're going to keep our eyes on oil, but in this particular case here with any of the metals, you have to watch how that US dollar is doing. For now, it's trending down, so respect the trend.
Here's that gap in the US dollar down into the 200 period moving average. Once again, this is on a daily chart. So, all the way back to March 26 levels. So you're back a couple weeks right now. We'll see if we can wind up holding that. If we do, I think it's bearish for the market and we make a move back higher. So yeah, all eyes right now on the US dollar. That's the DXY is 98.47 or so there for the 200 period moving average. That's what it looks like on the daily chart. If we sort of zoom this back in, look at 5 minutes, you can see there's the weakness right here. So if this continues to go down, you're going to see the NASDAQ really get going, man, and really start to rally. The NASDAQ wants a weaker dollar, and if that continues to happen, then yeah, man, it is going to be very much risk on day. We are at that bouncing spot right now, so we are going to have to wait to see what the DXY and the US dollar does down there, but I am very, very bullish if that continues the momentum to the downside, because you have oil down and you have the dollar down. I really think that this is going to be a key level to look out for. So maybe we potentially should be watching. We could watch it. Let's just watch it maybe on the 1 minute chart today. Have up the DXY on one of our screens here and make sure that we watch this, especially if we are going to trade futures or metal names or anything like that. That we want to understand, the relationship between dollar and whatever we're trading. So for me right now, and there you go, you get a nice little bump up now in the NASDAQ as the NASDAQ imbalances are released. So let me have a quick look to see if there's anything hot there. Intel downside right now. We'll get here. Let me just move this so we can see the reaction on the chart quickly. Intel, so I'll zoom in a little bit, down just a little bit right there on a little bit of a sell side space, whatever. That's only $3, but that's catching a bid. There goes space right there, Virgin Galactic. XOM with a sell. We can check it out. But we already know that XOM's a short today, most likely. All right, so I'm not really seeing anything there. It was a nice little bounce, it looked like in the NASDAQ, and I related that to the market imbalances. It doesn't look like that's the case. So, all right, XOM still down that much. Now we have Delta, Airlines, and travel stocks, and then this market opens back up.
Seeing an interesting map there of the Strait of Hormuz. Looks like a live feed of ships currently, like one of those plane trackers that you see. It's like kind of like that for ships. But anyway, very busy right now in that area of the world. Obviously, UAL coming back in here this morning. Some of the airlines back downside. Currently, I just checked. If you're wondering, Delta's earnings call is actually 10 a.m. this morning. So just keep that in your back pocket if you're looking at some of these airlines. Delta back downside right now as well. So again, there are some comments going back and forth right now. The Iranian side making some comments that are, let's just say, not so peaceful at the moment. So whether or not this holds, hopefully it does, but let's see.
Yeah, I'll go really quickly here over Delta earnings for you guys. So revenue adjusted $14.2 billion, non-adjusted $15.854 billion. You had growth across all of the segments with notable 41% year-over-year growth in their GAAP revenue in the other segments. So nice look there. They did say their fuel bill is going to be $2 billion higher in this quarter. So current quarter Q2 2026. In line, slightly weaker than expected EPS guidance. That could be a little bit of an issue for the next quarter, but they also said they're going to have to, quote, meaningfully reduce their capacity growth plans due to that increase in fuel prices.
A couple of minutes to go here. Remember, really no significant data until 2 p.m. this afternoon. We get energy at 10:30. It's Wednesday. We always do. 2 p.m. FOC meeting minutes, or FOMC meeting minutes from the last meeting. Tomorrow and the next day going to be the big ones on the economic calendar. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, good luck, everybody. And with a couple minutes to go to the open, I'd put almost a no-fly zone on Delta till after the earnings call. A little bit there. It can get tricky to get trapped in one. There's be enough volatility at the open without trying to dance around as everyone's positioning for that call. You're going to be watching oil futures anyways, which are ticking higher as we speak. That said, there is a gap. If it fills the entire gap, which I don't think, it's not super likely, but it's not impossible that it gets back down to 69. They did have a strong beat here, so that it gives them a bit of a floor to work with. I think Levi's, another earnings name in a different space, has something very, very similar toward it as well. On the other end of the coin, I guess it's the same end of a similar coin. CCL, it's still higher. Right, so as things are as some things pulled back when oil went higher, CCL did not dip. It actually just went through another fresh high. So it just gets further and further away from any reasonable dip levels. This will require a lot of patience. Some of these books are so thin right now that that you can actually see. I don't know if you'll be able to see on this. You can actually see the limit up and down levels on the chart. Oh, this one's not showing it. I was just like literally you could see it deeper in the book because there's big spreads, not a lot of liquidity going into this open, which I don't think is terribly surprising. So patience is a virtue. I saw in the chat, and there was a great comment. It was mentioned that USO is like the new VIX. Yeah, it turns into this, well, you're probably going to have the futures up because you want to see what the market's doing. You better have USO up or something, a proxy for oil futures, as we are bouncing higher. I like any reversion up at top to short pops and boils, so that's probably the first thing I'll look at. Maybe Bitcoin pulls back and retests that 71, although it's not even close to it. As we ring the hump day bell, that's right, it's Wednesday, hump day, so let's ring it. The market is now open and opening up 3.5%. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, here we go, man. Yeah, good move right now on the market. I was thinking about going short if we do take out the lows here on the TQs, but for right now, we are starting to rip a little bit higher, so there it goes. Just in the same spot that we've been at right here. So we'll have to figure out what this is going to do right now with the TQs. So now here it comes. I am going to try the short through if it does break right into there, the low of the day on the TQQs. We'll have a look there and give it to basically where we opened up, 48.70 or so, if that is the play. Who knows? We'll see if that winds up happening. Quick check there on USO to see what that's doing off the open. I mean, if you're watching the market, it's probably the same thing. Market going down now, USO going back up. Watch out for that VWAP trade there at 120 for USO. You know, the name that we both liked to the long side was going to be Intel. That is now opened up and started to go higher. I don't know if that dip was real, but it goes right into the 200 period, and silly me. Should have been on that one, and Tesla's probably ripping, right? I mean,
no.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, downside. Looks like Intel's the only one going higher. Watch out. Here
oil's going higher.
Yeah, here comes the Nasdaq right now as well. We should be going short on the TQs if it takes down the low of 40s.
Well, the one
30s,
thing that I was calling fugaze on, it's actually going a little bit higher. That's going to be SMR. But if oil prices are going up, then to me, that's the market going the other way. And this is, if it fails the pre-market high, I'm looking for a pop and fade here. Just there's some names that were up a little bit more than reasonably expected. We did show you guys, we're not there at $10 yet, so got to be patient with that as it goes higher. Tesla now at $357. That's a $7 drop right away at the open. If we're falling this far, maybe SMR is not going to be a wait and see. Oh, there's the topping tail. Right time to get in.
All right, we're in, I'm in the Qs. Let's just wait to see. I'm using the TQs here as the vessel. Who knows? We just went to the low of the day. We said we would try that on that break. So unfortunately, we got 33s is fine. We have 33s right there. I was going to give this back to like the 200 period here on the 1 minute chart. So like 48. Fine to be wrong on this. I mean, this is, it's 3 units, so it's big, but it's not huge. If we can get up to like sort of this area here, maybe average back in 48.60, but definitely, I don't even necessarily want to test with this top. I mean, we can wait and maybe not average in until we very much get to this top, but what if we just rally back here into VWAP, into some of these levels? I think we want to take a shot there. And then, yeah, I mean, maybe just, how many shares do we have? Yeah, this is not going to be that big of a hit, actually, if it does go all the way back up. So I'm going to be a little risk off right now with this move down in. I still believe the move. Let's just see if it does retrace back in a bit. So that's going to be my plan of action there on Intel. I was looking at Intel on the TQs here. Fade that a little bit more if we get up to 48.70, and then we'll deal with it. 48.85 potential out. We can even use 49, the day's high right there, and see if we get all the way back. So I'm short right now the market, and feel fine about it. My first bid is low side at 48.10.
And that Tesla is still, yikes. Intel, for what it's worth, is holding some of those lows, but it's like it hasn't filled in enough of the gap to really like it to the south side or to catch any kind of a bounce. You're going to see Bitcoin losing the volume weighted average price. USO is very much, or oil is still very much trending to the upside, and we're right at VWAP, nowhere near those prior highs. So looking at 122 on USO as a curl spot. The second that looks like it's rolling over, oil's at the low as USO's bounced off the low. So the exact same relationship as before. When the market opens up, just not nearly as strong as what we're seeing in oil futures are boil here, which of course is natural gas. So just SMR for now. Got to be patient, I think, with any longs until I see some kind of a change in what's going on with oil prices. Oh, and there's a bunch of small cappers. I see you guys out there talking a bunch of them. Remember, shouting out to anybody that was just typing UCAR. Don't forget the $sign. We want to visualize or reflect what's actually going on. And we don't mind calling up UPower, which is halted already. But if you throw the $sign in there, it makes it on the visualizer. Apparently, this just broke $1. So UCAR was a penny stock, and now it is not. It looks like a volatility halt should be open in about 4 minutes or so because that just happened. So for me, the only thing I'm in, because oil futures went up, was SMR to the downside. I wish the stock wasn't a dog because I own it. I still have some in my long-term account. They didn't sell all of it. Always hold on to a little bit for that dream. But the dream is fading, and I don't know why this was up 7% or 8% at one time, other than sympathy to the market. There's certainly things that make more structural sense to have gapped higher.
So here goes the US dollar right here, straight to the upside, obviously, which is why part of the reason why we're trying to hold on to this NASDAQ short as the dollar continues its move higher here. I mean, if it starts to really retrace back in, then yeah, we probably do get a little rip action on this. We're not averaging it in until my offer is at 70s. Right now. So I want to try to get into this high side area. I mean, 61, 65 potential right there. I mean, there's just a lot that we have to get through right now. I mean, there goes the dollar going higher right now as we speak. So far so good. Yeah, Intel's off to the races there. Let's check out what the boss is doing here with NVIDIA. Shout out to my wife, the true boss. 183.50. Yeah, good dip buy opportunity there, it looks like. I mean, we went short the market, so that would have been nice if NVIDIA would have continued that move, but now you're starting to get a little bit excited there with NVDA. But you know what, man? The whole market doesn't really matter. It seems like the only thing that does matter is what's going to be happening here with oil. So, yeah, right now, here's the CL contract. Nice move higher there to start the day. Now it's just trying to figure itself out. Let's remember this, down 17.5% right now. We could definitely check back in on that. Looks like crypto coming back in as well with IBIT going down to 72,000. So there that comes screaming back there. So I hope the NASDAQ can follow suit with IBIT, but it's not right now. But that might be something to take a look at, right? If the NASDAQ continues its march a little higher right now, potentially IBIT could be a long. I think that the relationship between the NASDAQ and IBIT has been pretty strong, and they've sort of matched each other. So here we go, man. A nice move up now in the NASDAQ, looking like IBIT potentially thinking about a hold down here in near the pre-market lows of $40.50. So something to look at for sure right there. But yeah, my trade is just hovering right now. It's not doing anything. The market did go against me about 10 cents, or it is right now, and that's about the maximum it's been. So still trying to be patient with where we get our next little tranche, and that will be 48.70. So hopefully that will come through and we'll be able to do that. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now, the TQQs only.
SMR just broke $10. Well, it's good for the long term. Not that good, but it just blew out that top. It looks like it's a little too strong right now, but the market is rolling. No, the market's not. The oil futures are rolling over. I have my oil futures exactly where my usual futures chart is, so bear with me. Rolling back underneath is USO. I said the second it turns, I want to get over to boil, thinking that it would pop when we had the pop over in USO. That hasn't happened. We're still off the lows. But if we're holding VWAP on USO, then I can maybe use this head and shoulders, like the 14.5, and the opening bar here gives me a bit of a spot. So I'm on the offer for USO. As long as we hold VWAP, or on boil, as long as we hold VWAP here on USO, gonna like this one to the south side. Intel is not going to dip to, I've already canceled my order on Intel. I don't think we're gonna see 54.50 anytime soon, and if we do, I think it's distinctly different at this point. So we're going to try to find a dip buy, maybe along the volume weighted average price or something along those lines, because Intel looking pretty strong. The dip just wasn't far enough. It looks like it did get to 54.75. Not that I saw that on the bid. It might have been for like a little quick flash for like 2 seconds.
All right, man, this is why we have a little bit of a different plan today, and that is to try to hold it a little bit longer, right? I mean, here it comes right back down in for the Qs. So, if we would have punched, we could have punched out for an L there, but we're going to try to hold on to what we believe, and that's going to be that the short could potentially print quite nicely here today, back through. Now, it's still not doing anything. I mean, that only went down. It's been up and down against me 20 cents. So we do have that bid down here. Hopefully we can grab that. That's 23s. I'm waiting for 10. So I'm waiting for a little lower than where we're at right now. But yeah, just a story of oil. The name that I liked was Uber. Also, I liked Uber to the long side. That's, not really doing a whole heck of a lot. The reason why we liked Uber was breaking above right now the 50-period moving average for Uber, up 5%. Seemed like it was a nice little mover there early, and just nothing going on right there. 75.50 down to 74. So it has about $1 of a range right now, stuck in the upper quartile of that range. So that's going to be a nice looker there. As here we go, man. Okay, you know what? Let's just take off like 5% down here if we can, in and around 19. I just bid 19, so maybe we get that. It's a nice move down. We have the short in the market. I mean, it's my very first play, so here it goes, man. We'll see if we can get. And look, it's what we talked about. A little bit less shares, a little bit wider of a move. So we have 3 units, which is still quite big, but not super aggressive. We do have a good bid down there at 48.10. Let's see if that winds up printing. What's up, eh?
Yeah, keep an eye here on this market. I am seeing a headline from Iranian media saying that Tehran is considering strikes against Israel, saying that they violated temporary ceasefire in Lebanon. So again, Iran basically saying because they view Israel as having violated the temporary ceasefire, there could, be considering striking against Israel. So again, could be some ceasefire violations on watch here. Back to you.
Well, obviously, that's going to be a big news story. We will continue to try to track it. Intel is trying to hold on to the line as one of the stronger names, but unfortunately, you've got 2 successive topping tail candles here. Failed breakout of the open and lower, and then it just failed to 56. So it's going to need to show a little bit of something above this 55.8. You've got to you've got to make sure that this is holding and not that failed open break is one of the worst reversal setups that you can find. I do see USO going higher, which is now through VWAP, but the good news is it's not really dragging Boyle with it. That's not it. VWAP still has its original topping tail and holding the line, at least for now. If you're looking at some of the travel names, obviously they're going to be heading back in precipitously. The Delta calls in 20 minutes. 69 is the area that I like for a bid on Delta. It's still about $2 away. That's the thing about these dip buys. They're a long ways away in some cases.
Well, that didn't take long already. We got our daily goal there, but we're waiting to see if it continues, man. I mean, if it doesn't hold, then we don't have our goal. But right here underneath 10 will give it to us. So there it goes, man. We do have that. We're here. We talked about, we're here to trade, man. And I mean, there we go. 1 for 1 right now with a nice move going. And this is the life, right? We had that JKL there talking about hitting the beach up and whatnot. I'd be joining you, my friend. There it goes. Nice downside move. And don't get too greedy with everything, right? I mean, these markets, that news story there that Adara just brought to us, interesting story, obviously, there about Iran and the ceasefire with Israel. We did say that was part of the problem. There is that who knows the people involved in the Strait, in that location, and in the Middle East, they're the ones at risk. So we'll have to wait to see if that ceasefire continues to withhold. And there it goes. See, right back up to the upside. So that's why we say, like, if you do hit your goals, there is a chance that if you're there for a short time, might also be a good time. So TQ's doing its move. But yeah, Intel, $56 and still going. That was the number 1 long I had. And then we had Palantir as well on watch. And here comes Palantir, actually. I was not expecting this move like this right now, but the futures are also obviously kicking. There we go. We get another bid there at 10s just to make sure that we do cover. I'll put another bid here at O's, and then that's it, man. We'll still have 2/3 left of this trade as here we go right back into the low side again, man. Boy, we've got it going on pretty good right now. Market lower, the trade we wanted. We said if we broke that pre-market low, we wanted that level, and there it goes right here, right now. It's a downside play, and we've got it good on the TQQs as we go back over to the futures right now. And yeah, just watch to see where we go from here. Marvell has been pretty strong as well, I believe, because I see Intel going. No, actually.
No. It's really Intel.
Yeah, right now it's just really Intel. Yeah, I mean the market. Yeah, that's right.
Intel is the only name on my board which is outside of oil futures, which is going higher. You got Micron breaking the low of the day. You've got NVIDIA breaking the low of the day. You've got AMD at the low of the day, at least for now. But I just went and paid for. I didn't think there was going to be a chance that battle would bounce, but if it does with oil, then we're going to be all over it. Oil futures still heading toward that high. They haven't broken out the top just yet, but Intel just continues to absolutely fly. So your confirmation hold, there's your confirmation of VWAP. Your next candle is like 60 pennies higher. So this one just continues to buck the trend. We said this yesterday, I don't care how strong something is. If the market doesn't go with it and it's got a decent beta like Intel would, then you will expect some kind of a pullback eventually, and sometimes it'll be pretty heavy. But I'm not chasing opening candles like that, doesn't make any sense. We'll sort of stick to the original thesis, that is if oil futures go up, I want to fade Boyle as the first thing. And then the second thing, if they go too far extended, then I want to fade Battle, which is not even going upside at all, still down 25 points here. Again, there's just a lot of names which are taking it, I don't want to say on the chin, but are right at that bottom trying to hold, like Apple's holding the low right now and bouncing a little bit. So if you can get a trend break, one of the other places I'm looking for a trend break is going to be IBIT, but even this is nowhere close to the support that we are. You're not even at the pre-market low yet, let alone the 40 level, which to me was support today. On IBIT, Bitcoin, it'll be above 71K. Right now we're at 71.6, so close to the 71,000 mark. It's still way above 70K, 71, but 40 cents to go before I'd even think about that long, unless it breaks a trend.
I'm gonna get another bid here because, you know, my guy is right at its level right now. I mean, Palantir, we wrote down 140, 151 as a potential long here on PLT. Oh, we just got that bid anyway, so I don't know if we want to go long. But there it is right there, the long on PLTR right there, 151. That's exactly where we're at. We just took it out, actually, to the downside. This is the thing, like, I want to talk like this to everybody because this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm short the NASDAQ, and I chose not to go into Palantir there because of the momentum that's been happening in this market, right? I mean, you never really want to catch that falling knife like Palantir has been right there. Have we wicked the bottom there at 150.30? Maybe, but you've come right back into yesterday's area of closing area on PLTR. So I guess we were completely wrong on thinking that this name could be one that catches a bid. It is definitely not. It's not that we thought things were going to catch a bid. We did expect moves lower there, but not like this. This is a decent one right here for PLTR. So we can try to go long 151.
The IRGC saying they intercepted a foreign drone violating its airspace, and that constitutes a breach of the ceasefire. Just heard that through the wire.
Yep. So yeah, that should be something here. I'll try to go maybe long 151 if we do break above it there. But for right now, let's just wait to see what winds up happening here on PLTR. As you do get on, you know, headlines like that, the market trying to move backside a little bit right now. So maybe we can cover just in case it gets a little bit too out of pocket here, because I am thinking about going long, as I just mentioned there on there it is. Now we are long into PLTR. Let's see if this one can withstand that 150, basically where we just came from there, 150.25s. We'll see if we break 150, then we can maybe get out of this one. But for right now, it's Palantir. We're long on that one and short on the NASDAQ. So let's see if this works out.
Yeah, USO actually breaking back underneath VWAP here. So that actually did do a little bit of a right-hand turn back lower. So despite some of these headlines that are coming through, and it's not the first one that we've had, which suggests that the ceasefire is not as stable as it would seem, we're still going in the other direction with oil prices heading back down in, which is catching a bit of a bid elsewhere. So let's go see what's going on. IBIT is trying to break this little 3-minute trend, has to confirm it with a nice little hold here of about 40.70. Intel wants 57. You're absolutely right there, Jay Lee. That stock is on an absolute rampage, but it's a little bit too far, and I don't feel like it's going to be a wise chase. So I'm going to go for this little trend break here on IBIT. It's not at 40. You know, we're not at 71K. We're at 71.9, but you know, the first time we're attempting to break the trend is right here in front of VWAP. So it's where the stock is, not where you want it to be when the setup happens. We'll try to give it to this 40. It's about 40.60 is the prior bar low in here. And then with the oil futures heading down, I was able to get one fill on Boyle, looking for that to finally break the low of the day. If USO breaks the low, I suspect this will too. Just playing the little VWAP game here on, not Crude, Nat Gas ETF.
All right. Yeah, we're just, I'm trying to empty out the clip a little bit here on the NASDAQ because I'm starting to feel like we may have just potentially, I mean, that was 25,000, potentially a key level there. We'll see. I did switch up into the long. I just thought that this could be a trade that we wind up letting it work for us. I mean, it did go 20 cents in the money. We didn't take anything out. Maybe we can have another look at that. It went up to 151.26 there, and we didn't do anything about it. So that could have been an out, but let's just wait. I'm going to wait for this to break 150. Hey, look, man, if the momentum wants to retrace itself back to the upside, I think this is a good name that can work. So let's just give this a little bit of a second. Hey, look, man, if the truce or the ceasefire does not exist, then we can easily get out of this, right? And so I think that 150 is a pretty key level there. If we don't hold it, then we're gone immediately. I'm not even going to let this one give it a breath. Like if we break 150, if we see a 149.99, we're going to punch out as quick as we can on PLTR. And the order's already set. So that's a trade right now that I'm looking at. I always thought the best name is Google. To buy on dips, and so maybe we should be looking there. Not dipping as much as Palantir, so it's not flashing in my face that much, but I don't mind this dip buy either. I'd rather not get down into this level because that means Palantir will be getting crushed, but if it does, watch out for 316.50, not a horrible spot there for Google. So that's something I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, I'm looking across, like, there's just nothing that's doing what Intel is doing to the upside. I looked over to see Marvell, which has been usually, it's bounced $2 from the lows. It's not like it's not bouncing. It's absolutely, that's fine. There's nothing against 2%. But Intel's now at 8% and $57. These are 52-week highs. You got to go out to a monthly chart to be able to see where this was the last time this high. And I'm not going to do that right now, but I'll just quickly show you the 52-week high break that we're seeing here on Intel, and nothing is really going with it. Market's still under VWAP, NVIDIA, another chip name, is basically at VWAP, putting in lower highs as we speak. We're going to go to Deere, get a quick little update, and come right back and have a look at, well, Bitcoin's trying to bounce, the market's trying to bounce, but nothing's doing what Intel's doing.
Yeah, more headlines to be aware of here in the Middle East, guys. I'm seeing, according to Al Hadath, that a new Israeli airstrike actually hit an area in southern Lebanon. Furthermore, state TV in Iran saying that Iran actually took down an Israeli-made drone above a town in the south. I believe that headline was mentioned by Neil and Sean as well. But a couple different Middle East headlines continuing to proliferate this morning. Again, no economic data at 10 a.m. to worry about. Back to you.
So it looks like, yeah, the gig is up right now. It doesn't not look like at all we want to go up. And in fact, it looks like we want to go down. And there's the flush out right there. We should have just stayed net short on our positions because it's a huge break now on the TQs as there it goes right back into the downside. So we do have to hit the L right there on Palantir because Iran, I still have a little bit left. There we go, we get out. Iran does violate apparently, or Israel, or I don't know. We'll hear more about that story as it comes through, but there's the move down right now in the market. So we still have the short on the market, but we do take that L on PLTR right now, but there's a good fill for us at 48 right now on the TQs as that continues to make a move that way. Probably the short in the NASDAQ is going to be correct. Instead of getting out up here when we were panicking, we could have got more short there against the 25-period moving average, so definitely something to look at right there for our NASDAQ traders as we make new lows right now on the NASDAQ, and I'm glad to be short. Just we did give some back there on PLTR, and we tried it, and just no good, man. We did have a winner, but it did turn into a loser. So there goes 1 for 1, 1 for 2 right there. PLTR down. Futures continue to make the move lower as well. So maybe we just stay net short and look for those opportunities, which would mean a long in USO.
Well, it's not really reacting the way you would expect on USO, or at least the way I would expect. Like, you would think that that last headline would have put us through the top, but you're right, like the longs have gone anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Like IBIT just lost the prior bar, so we take our first actual trend break trade, but the prior bar gets lost, so I'm gonna be out. I like the risk to reward there, but there's just no fall through at all. And I would have expected if we're gonna be taking out lows, then why are we not at the highs on USO? So it's really not that crazy of a bounce higher, and as long as that holds, it'll be counterintuitive, but for now, that'll mean Boyle's going to hold at the low as long as USO wants to do that. And whatever happens here, it doesn't seem to do anything to Intel. Like nothing matters to Intel at this point. It's still up at 57 and absolutely flying. Apparently, Netflix is doing some things. Don't forget Netflix on its own merits, this is now the third time that Netflix has failed $100. So just be aware. Oh, shoot. That's weird. I've never seen a level 2 crash, and then one just did. I'll have to open that back up. No, 100 failed yesterday, failed the day before. Do not like this triple failure. We said if I was in a swing trade in Netflix and it wasn't a long term, I would have covered from 80 and just taken your 20% and then run with it if you can. Because Netflix 3 days in a row. I like the strength in the stock since the Warner Brothers deal went the other way, but you had to ring the register, I think, if it was a swing anyways.
Yeah, I'm cashing out a little bit more here on the NASDAQ. It seems like it just wants to hang out near some of these lows, but we still have a decent position on. So all good over here, 25% or so on this one. I'm still keeping my eyes on Palantir because, like we say, we don't want to throw good money after bad, but we are coming into, a proper level now for Palantir. This is almost like yesterday's close, which gets spiked into right here. 149, and there's the dip by 149.30, held right there. So maybe a long developing here. We're still net short though. We're short the NASDAQ and we're happy with it as we take out day's low right now on the NQs. What's up, Adara?
More headlines here in the Middle East. We're having an Iranian source report that, according to an Iranian security military link, they said that they're kind of viewing some kind of concern here that the U.S. could be failing to control Israel because they're viewing, again, that Israel has actually been violating their ceasefire. So again, Iran's saying that they're actually a bit concerned here, again, according to an Iranian state media source, that the U.S. is failing to control, in their mind, Israel because they are viewing Israel as having violated that ceasefire. So ceasefire violations continue as we're now like half an hour into the trading day.
Yeah, well, I think everyone knew it was going to be tenuous. You didn't get exactly what you wanted in the first place. That 45 days would have been a heck of a lot better. But if it's already going to be this weakness, the only thing standing in the way of worse would be the fact that oil futures aren't really doing anything too crazy. So VWAP just got violated and $10 just came back down in SMR, which was my line. So we shorted underneath. It didn't work. It's breaking back down underneath, so I'm short again. It's got a double top up there. So second time, let's see if it's a charm here. It's up 8.5%. In the long term, we can want it to go up, but if it's going to go down, it's going to go down. And as the futures make another fresh low, stop me if you've heard this before, Intel just made another straight up HOD. Cannot be stopped. Apparently cannot be stopped. I just do not think it can hold up forever. And it's time to start looking for levels on Intel because I wasn't really considering. I thought we'd go dip and rip on Intel. I didn't think we'd go rip right away if the market headed to the downside. So a bit of a surprise there. And we'll go to the monthly chart. I'm pretty sure it's like $60 and there's nothing until we get to 60.
Oh, yeah, Intel's been great. We're going to try, and last time, man, if Palantir winds up breaking, okay, here it goes. It's going to break 149. I was just thinking that maybe there was a little bit of a move back here higher in the market and that we wanted to take it. Now, there it goes. Take advantage of that move. So that was 30 cents hit. We did try. Now we can say confidently that we can get away from that name as it breaks back down below 149 now and just looks sick. We should have just gone short once it broke VWAP, or at least look at that trade right there on VWAP. Hindsight, of course. All right, Oracle, we can have a look over here. It's making a move as well, back into 145 and change. Oracle, no green candles on Oracle all day, as that one just keeps on bleeding lower and lower and lower here. 145.50 right now for Oracle, coming in one more time into the, okay, wow, there's this decent here for ORCL. Maybe we do wind up holding in and around this 145, but do we really want to, I mean, it's funny because the only position that's, this has been a great one, this short right there, but you had to have not taken the longs on the other side of it, which we did there with PLTR. So just like the other day when we got hit there on going long on Apple and then we changed our mind and wound up having a decent recovery, we're trying to do the same thing here today. And it was just O's on Palantir, tried it twice. Did not work. We like the 151. We tried that. We gave that about $1 or so, about $1 there to the downside. And, yeah, there it goes to the downside. We need rum and Coke, I guess. But the
151, yeah.
Yeah, the 151 proof, yeah, the rum. But yeah, there it goes to the downside right now, the NASDAQ, and not really catching a bid. And that Oracle is interesting, but yeah, just keeps going lower here, maybe bouncing off 145 if we want to take a shot here on ORCL. but down 1.57% right now. There goes the NASDAQ. We just got the day's low again on that name. So wow, market really giving it up here. So no FOMO. Exactly what we talked about. Wait for the dip buys. We waited, but we didn't have the.
There haven't been any. Well,
I mean, there's been dip buy opportunities, just haven't held.
Not in the strongest name. The strongest name didn't give you that chance, and now all of a sudden, like you're closer. Apologies, I went to look at the monthly chart for Intel, but my e-signal's not working for some reason. I'll probably have to kill it and open it up again. That's usually going to solve it. But Intel now, if we continue to go lower, it turns into a wait for the trend to break kind of story. Like it's got a clean trend up. It didn't fill the gap in here anywhere close to try even start a different rip. So the next available opportunity is likely to be a trend break. And the other side of this coin is we haven't even geared. I keep saying it. We haven't even geared up in oil futures. They're barely moving. Like we're at 119, chilling in a 50-cent range. That takes out VWAP and takes out some highs, and this just gets worse for everybody. So that does mean, as we're breaking through VWAP, no reload here. Boyle's been fine. Like he's just sitting here without breaking the lows. But the only reason it's not doing so is because USO is being stubborn and trying to hold on. So the only thing was getting back into like the first hit, which was SMR, and it's now back on 10. I want it to the low, and then we can start thinking about whether it can fill this gap in. This was a $9.16 stock yesterday. If the futures want to tank, this has a long way to go. It's 10 o'clock. It means it's time for a little bit of happening now.
Oh, yeah.
One big headline is moving the market today, and it has to do with the 2-week ceasefire between Iran and the U.S. We do have the market here trying to hold on to at least some of this gap to the upside, but we know first two 15-minute candles of the day were generally red for the two major indices. Lots of ceasefire talk here as to whether or not it has or has not been violated. We've heard there were some drones intercepted over Saudi Arabia. We've got Iran accusing Israel of violating the ceasefire agreement. So be aware here when trading, especially if you're going to be trading some of these oil-related plays. Let's talk IBIT because crypto is certainly an area that was moving in tandem with the rest of the market. We got a gap up when the ceasefire was first announced just before 7 p.m. yesterday. Right now, though, kind of trying to hold on to some of that strength. I do have to talk as well. We know airlines, of course, overall, trading higher in sympathy with a drop in oil. But Delta reported earnings this morning, and their earnings call begins right now at 10 a.m. Slightly in-line EPS here, but they did beat on sales. Guidance not as good as it could have been here for Q2 adjusted earnings. We'll have to find out what the CEO, Ed Bastian, says on that call, which, again, is beginning imminently. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content as we send you back over to Sean and Neil.
Thank you very much, Theradera.
Yeah, keep going. I just need a couple of seconds here.
So, you can literally see my e-signal loading. Well, you're going to watch it load up there.
Get it finally?
It's not an e-signal ad. There it goes. It just loaded back up. You can see my charts working. We just got back to, let's call it the open breakout price on SMR. So we'll try to get back some of that loss from earlier. You are still seeing USO not really break the range. This is the thing that's given some pause here. It's all of this tight consolidation in oil futures. It's not really breaking out upside. It's not breaking out downside. A very inside morning with light volatility in oil. And if that's going to be the case, it's like, well, how much do you want to be digging in? Silver is holding the line. Man, that should have been the long instead of IBIT. It went right to 69. Okay, I'm not saying 69 for that reason. 69 is this prior high in here. It's like a high from back on April 1st. And bouncing off that prior high right now on silver. So as long as this holds on, I should be looking at this trend break. That's a better setup because it's a trend break off a support line instead of one that was through local support. Let's go back over to my left.
Yeah, markets have been extremely active lately. For traders, this kind of environment creates huge opportunity. Big moves means more setups and, of course, more momentum. But to really take advantage of these conditions, you need two things: discipline and, of course, access to capital. And that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your own account. Traders can now, no more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is what we call limited risk trading. If you are ready to take advantage of this volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, please visit tradethepool.com and scan that QR code. You'll also get 10% off if you do that. So we want to thank Trade the Pool for their continued support, of course, of our fine show. All right, we did get in position. It's been a money-making opportunity right now, so we'll just go a little bit of cash cow, but I mean, Oracle could give it up, but if we lose 145, then we're gone. We did get some good outs though, 145.75s. We are basically taking 1-to-1, and we have about half left. So, you know, in what I thought was potentially going to be a nice move back upside, we're still short the NASDAQ. I wish we had just stayed short the NASDAQ. But anyways, this move did create a good opportunity for Oracle. We just, you know, didn't take advantage of all of it, you know, upside. I was waiting for, you know, some 146s in to break, but it looks like right now we will break lower through 145 on Oracle. But I did take the shot long based off of where we looked, and it was right into here. Some of these past longs for Oracle trying to hold out on 145. So, yeah, what he did that. Yeah, there.
No, it was, look, I clicked the wrong one. It's fine.
No, all good. Yeah,
JKL, thank you for the super chat. You're short Bitcoin and long Silge.
Silja?
No.
What is that?
That's a silver miner.
Oh.
Which is interesting because I just saw that trend. Oh, come on.
Silver miners, eh? We never talk about
SILJ, which I'll get to in a second, but that trend break just happened on silver. I was just trying to show you the line. There we go. So it's a standard setup for me. Hold there, look for VWAP first, look for the next available high, and then we can get to this ETF. Decent volume on this ETF, and certainly notably weaker on a consolidation. But I would imagine like you're shorting here, or you're probably already shorted, my guess. My guess is you're already short, as this is getting to a bit of a consolidation. There's a lot of quote stuffing on this thing. If anyone looking at a day trade.
All ETFs, man.
No, but this one's like egregious. Okay. Here, SILJ. I don't know why that didn't auto flip for me. Like if you see it go through levels, notice how like it's barely printing as it moves through. Like you see a bunch of deep prints, but a lot of this isn't really printing. So it's just a bit of a premium, I think, on some of the liquidity there. Anyways, it's just worth looking at. Wow, Intel is not breaking this uptrend. Nothing about this is breaking the trend, and that didn't save either. But it's still patience. If you don't have to be in until the trend breaks, then I can just sit here as it holds, and if the market continues to trend down, I feel like eventually it breaks this trend line and gives you that VWAP retracement trade. So I haven't at least haven't tried it yet. But you know when you're like itching, like it's slowing down, you can see it slowing down, it's almost 10% up, like 9% is pretty intense to me as it tries to go. But there's another fresh high that just got made, unbelievable.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you, and I appreciate the good times. Keep the good times rolling right now. Yeah, Marks, I mean, look at Palantir, way to follow the rules. I think I'm going to take that as a compliment because, yeah, this was a complete disaster if you're holding on to anything here on PLTR. Just an absolute shit show of a stock today, down 2.25 percentage points. See ya. But have the discipline, have the wherewithal, have the ideas, have the ability, all that kind of fun stuff to get the heck out of Dodge, right? I mean, and I think that's where I take that as a compliment because we're able to switch it over. We haven't made back everything because we got waxed, and not poetically, on Palantir. But Oracle, we switch it up. We find another name. Don't tell Deere that I'm long Oracle, but we're in this.
Deere?
Yeah, I'm just playing around with Deere, don't worry. But there it is, man. We make it back. We make back right now half of our position back on Oracle. And it's just sometimes it is about switching it up and saying, you know what? I'm wrong on this one. And we did that. And did we? Probably, lost more than we needed to, but there goes Palantir, and I want to thank you for the kind words.
I saw a question about Palantir. Someone said, why is it going down? It doesn't have to be rational, necessarily.
You know what? I mean, the end of a war is not great for Palantir. Like, the more I think about these kind of things,
we talked about it having a bit of a moat relative to some other tech names because of the defense thing. I still didn't send you that video. I couldn't really find that cool.
Oh, someone sent me a video. I just didn't look at it yet. It's probably the same one.
It might be the same one. Really
yeah, because you were
but the end of the war or de-escalation, maybe some of these other names aren't doing all that well. Like if you look at the overall space, I haven't looked at Raytheon today. I haven't looked at Lockheed Martin. It could be worth checking to see if they're not showing the kind of strength you would like to see. It's past 10 o'clock, but I know we're going to the desk for another update. Intel just keeps on trying. This is on the verge, man. I think it's on the verge of losing this trend. 9% and still going. Unbelievable.
Time to look here at Delta. We do have comments coming from CEO Ed Bastian and other executives during the company's earnings call, just to kind of let you guys know this has started. According to Ed Bastian, cash sales have increased in double digits during the last month, which, as Brendan and I were talking about this morning, does signify really strong demand for Delta. He actually said in all words here that strong demand does exist throughout bookings, regions, and services. So Delta saying that demand does remain strong, even though we know oil prices have been a bit of an issue as of late. Back to you.
Might have just had some sort of a headline.
If you're looking at any book, there must have been a headline just now.
I'm starting to punch out a little bit here. So the NASDAQ is absolutely tanking right now. So there, I mean, I don't want to say absolutely tanking. We're making new lows there, and now right back up to the upside again. So several vessels in the Gulf.
Strait
Hormuz
is still closed.
is what we're hearing right now. So that's not going to be good. You're seeing the NASDAQ make those moves into the lows again. And yeah, like it's crazy because I'm long Oracle and it's actually done quite well. And the short, the NASDAQ is also doing quite well. But I'm going to start to get out a little bit more here of the trade. And, you know, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. NASDAQ not tanking. So interesting here to see what winds up happening. So let's get some more outs. And by the way, there it is, man. We do take that 75 cents. We did get 146 on this, right here on Oracle. It's hard to see. Well, 145.97.
I don't think that's
what we got there.
I'm
more interested about the ceasefire.
Didn't we already have a headline this morning that said potentially opened up by Thursday? Mm-hmm. That's tomorrow. So if it's not open now, why does it even matter? I don't know. Like, so here's USO. All that really happened is like the books just went crazy for a little bit there, and you had like a bunch of shakeouts. I got here. I'll show you. I reiterated the Boyle short because I'm like USO barely even moved. No, but like there was one wick out on silver, and then it went right back to my entry price, like instantly. And so I feel like that doesn't seem like that big of a deal. USO rejected 120 while that was happening. I'm like, well, every single time we bounce, do you think it's legit? It didn't seem legit. Lost VWAP and Boyle, so I jumped back into that. SMR broke the low. It'll suck because I should have waited on SMR. I'm pretty sure if I rewind the tape, I don't know, I think I said something along the lines of make sure you see a topping tail candle, make it topping tail candle, or the other day when it made a double top, and then after that it's a short. This is the day that I referenced, the double top, and then after it's a short. I still short it into the move, and then don't get it until the back side of the trade. So, you know, patience is always a virtue, but sometimes you take the L and you got to say, you know, the plan of action was wait for a double top or wait for a fail of the high, and I don't do so, and then have to catch on the back end. But I don't think that's a huge deal, given what we heard earlier about the Strait. Adara?
So according to unnamed Navy sources, this is, unnamed shipping sources, so it's more or less a rumor or speculation. Apparently, we did have several vessels in the Gulf receiving messages claiming to be from the Iranian Navy saying Hormuz is still closed. So apparently, these messages further said that ship owners need to receive permission from Iran to transit or they will be targeted and destroyed. So sounds like if there is any kind of opening of the strait, it's very, very conditional. Back to you.
Targeted and destroyed. So we're still seeing all the same.
Yeah.
More of the same, man. More of the same.
I'm just getting out of these longs. I don't, you know, I think the short seems like a little bit of a safer play right now. You know, yeah, I mean, Intel was the #1 name. I mean, this is the thing. If you're going to look at Sticky Note, it's great. And I want to thank you for doing that, of course. But we both talked about Intel today. Just never dipped into any kind of level that I could take. And I didn't even look at it, man. I mean, I wish I would have instead of Palantir. At least then I wouldn't have lost anything. But there it is, Palantir 146, trying to find a base as well. Oracle, I think, is going to be a great long. I am now out of 2/3 of it, though. You know, we can only hope for things to happen. It doesn't mean that it's going to. So Oracle right now back up into the 200 period, into the 25 period. But I'm still waiting at 146.15s to see if we can get that dollar club area. We just broke through 146 and didn't get going. So we took some more outs just right now. And yeah, fine by me. If this one wants to rip, good, right? We're just pacing it. We're getting it off of these little levels right into here. And like I said, like I wanted to get potentially Google for a long, so I think that would be something that we could look at down here as well. Google down, but still up that 3 and a bit percentage points. Looking to see if that wants to hold 315. We could zoom back out, and this
Apple's strong.
Yeah, this is why I'm choosing Oracle. You know, like there's nothing over here that I can say confidently, okay, I kind of like the way this is looking right now, you know, and it's because I'm not. So we're going to have to wait for a little bit of a move down there. You had mentioned maybe Apple being at some sort of a
Apple
key
is,
level.
it's not necessarily the key level, it's just relatively strong, that's all. I mean, it's held the low. You had the, well, reportedly, potentially bogus story about the fold. It was actually Bloomberg that refuted it, not Apple, that story. So go figure either way. But you're making higher lows. No, Wall Street Journal was the original story, right? And then it was Bloomberg.
The original was Nikkei, refuted by Bloomberg.
It was Bloomberg that refuted
Nikkei Asia.
So it was Bloomberg that refuted it, our favorite source ever. But look, it hasn't broken through highs on Apple. That's the more important thing. So it hasn't really done the full, bottoming tail. It's okay to make a V-shaped recovery and bottoming tail candle, but if you don't take out the highs and show buyers above 260, then this relative strength could be all for naught. Intel's still ridiculous, but it's slowing down. Like, you see this on a 15-minute. Obviously, that hasn't had a red candle yet, but this is the first one that isn't parabolic. That's one distinct difference. We've got that, like, it's technically broken the trend and given a couple of little indications that we're slowing here. So if this one closes red on a 3-minute basis on Intel, I'll probably take the first shot. Still nothing really happening in oil futures. If there's anything that might tell you that whatever is going to happen for the rest of it, or whatever the biggest move is going to happen, it hasn't been yet. This is the biggest indication. I'm trying to keep it close to the vest while USO is not doing anything. There's no chance we're sitting in a 119 to 120 range all day on USO. It's not going to happen. But as long as we are, you don't want to get too wrapped up. It's under VWAP and putting in lower highs, so I'll stay short boil and continue to reload because it's slightly trend down. But if that breaks and we go higher, this is going to be market flush. 25,000 on the NASDAQ could be gone. All your relative strength in Apple and Intel could be meaningless. But this can't hold forever. It's only 10:15. There's plenty of day left. I don't think USO is done by any stretch.
All right, I just, we get it. So here we go, man. The bid has worked out perfectly for us right here on Oracle. So, we're making back that money right now on ORCL. So just been sitting in there watching out for that name to continue its move higher. I want to thank everybody for watching us live everywhere where you're streaming, TikTok, Twitch, right here on YouTube. Want to thank everybody for that. Let's go Oracle, man. That's a big one, that's for sure. All right, Tesla trying to battle off the bottom as well. I'm not even sure how we picked Oracle other than what I explained there, but it's been a good one. Tesla, I thought there'd be more stocks trying to rally back. Tesla right there, 350, still near the lows, but it's been good, right? 350.80 is the low, 350.180 is where we're at now, so there's your dollar almost in back end of Tesla. And if we zoom out for this one, I could sort of get involved here maybe, but if we look down, this looks like a little bit of a better price to me, right? 348, 349, something like that. For Tesla, maybe we get a little bit of a dip buy opportunity right into there. We have less than a third now, by the way, of this Oracle trade. So it just failed through. I'm gonna punch out a little bit more at 95. Boom, we'll take that. We'll see if we can now have some more diamond hands. And then this is a big one too, right here. This is the biggest one. Well, Oracle's the biggest one, but just as a clean play, the TQs right off the open, takes down the pre-market lows, and shout out to Uncle Bob, but the rest is history, and Bob is indeed my uncle. And maybe you guys have an Uncle Bob as well. But there it goes right. Yeah, no, not many people do. But there it is, man. Beautiful trade there on the TQs and followed up with Oracle. So, yeah, man, it's making some sense here, and we're happy for it so far.
All right, Fabian's done this for us, so we're going to throw this up. And
yeah, Fabian.
Probably should have had this pre-market, but everyone in the chat, all you got to do is type a number. It's pretty simple to participate, so we're going to start it. Whoops, you've already started it up there. It's one trend up. Oh, we want me to refresh? Okay, I'll refresh it. There you go. Oh, it looks a little different. It's a sideways action. So type 1 if you think trend up, green all day. Type 2, sell the open fade. 3 is bull trap, rug pull later. 4 is chop, no direction. 5, wait and see, no trade early. Bull trap, rug pull later. The way that we're going sideways in the oil futures and not really moving that much, I think that sets up a little bit better. Because, again, the volatility hasn't really come into oil. So we'll keep this up there for you guys. Get your votes in. If you're not in the chat and want to participate, it's a subs-only chat. So hit the subscribe button, jump in, ask questions, participate, and type one of those 5 numbers, depending on what you think. So we'll leave that up at least until the midday. So you can't be 50-50 if you have 5 options.
We just got, I dropped my pen, but we just got a great fill there. Just reach down and get it. On Oracle. Oracle just printed into the 25 area there again for ORCL. So that went through, and there it is. So we just got 25s basically. But now, with this dip down, let's get out a little bit more right there. Iran will withdraw from ceasefire agreement if attacks continue. So not great to that, but is what it is again. So hopefully that does not continue. But there it is, nice move there. And again, let's take advantage of this move. And I'm just piecing it out every level right now because we've just sort of making up for the early mistake. We'll go 2 for 3 today, but the big mistake there is on Palantir, as that was an initial long that we had that faded out. So there we go. We tried it twice, but this time was really just whatever. I was wondering if it was exactly the bottom. So we get in and out there, but this was the bigger one. 151 proof into 150. That failed. See you later, alligator. There on that name. And then, yeah, so we only have 20% left now on Oracle. So I think we did real good on this name today. And yeah, just getting some more out. We just got another out there at 85. So yeah, hopefully we can absorb some of this movement there. Thank you everybody for watching. Let's go over to Dara.
Before we get into the small caps, I'll do a really quick rundown of the latest headlines here in the Middle East. As Sean just mentioned here, seeing reports from Tasnim News, which is, it's worth noting, an Iranian agency, saying that if attacks on Lebanon continue, Iran will actually end up withdrawing from the ceasefire agreement. Then a couple minutes before that, I was hearing reports that Pakistan was saying that Iran and U.S. delegates were going to be on their way for ceasefire talks on Friday. So, as always, back and forth, contradictory reports. If and when I get more details, I will keep you all posted. In the meantime, time for small caps. First small cap on watch today, UCAR, $3 million market cap for UPower. This one has rallied in the past, and last night after the close, they announced a $3.19 million offering, 2.9 million shares, $1.10 per share. ELAB is the next small cap on watch, another one that's rallied in the past. The company is called PMGC Holdings. They announced an all $20 million commitment amount under equity purchase facility with Streeterville Capital. This announcement came out this morning. ELAB has a $9.8 million market cap. Share float here of around 530,000 shares, a very small float for ELAB. Last but not least, QNCX, one that's already given back a lot of this move, but I know one that we're talking about this morning, so I wanted to mention this again here. Settled a $5.5 million loan under its obligations from a European investment bank last Monday. So no new catalyst on this. This catalyst is from Monday, March 30th. We have a $15 million market cap for QNCX and a short float of about 23%. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Sarah Dara. And of course, yeah, lots of small cappers running today. But the first actual, well, I shouldn't say the first, but we did get a break on USO. I did jump into the Intel trend trade because the USO broke VWAP. And someone was saying, yeah, but oil futures are moving, Neil. I get it, we've gapped. What I was referring to was the fact that we were going sideways for a half an hour. And now that you have a breakout to the upside, going into some of those highs, that can give you enough reason to get into the downside. Now, because we got the resistance, again, every single pop that goes into VWAP, still maintaining the short in 3 times in the VWAP at Boyle, so it gives us another lower high. As long as that puts in lower highs, then I think we're good to go. But if one of those breaks, we're jumping out of it. But Intel was the newest on that. It broke the trend a while ago here, did a couple of tails the other direction, but then it was the oil futures move. Like, once I saw that break VWAP, it's like, okay, well, maybe that gives a little bit of extra juice for the short to come in there, as you guys see the headline. And again, everything seems very tenuous at this point. It's like, how excited can we be? Like, it doesn't feel like bottoms in kind of moment. The market's not really reacting that way. You have a couple of names here and there that are strong, and really, I'm saying a couple of names, but really it's just Intel. Being honest about it.
Yeah, no, I think that's about right. I mean, I'm trying to do the same thing here, is look around to see if we can get, like, I mean, Oracle right there. Oh, it's because I have an offer higher. That's why. I was like, why are these coding as shorts? Okay, so back up to 146. We're just trying to do our best right now to negotiate that. We did get some outs there at 146. Oh no, we missed it actually at 20. So we'll sit there. Hopefully we do get a little bit of a pop-up. Let's check out some other names. What's Marvell doing? You know, we talked about looking for some potential strength somewhere in this great market of ours today. And there's Marvell. That's a huge, strong name. I mean, we could have gone long this instead of Oracle. That would have been better trading there. And did it give us enough reason to get long? Yeah, I mean, you know, looking back at this, sure, if you have the very bottom, then the risk to reward makes a little bit of sense, because you might be saying, wow, 110 might be the sort of zone of, you know, the zone of indiscretion. I don't know what I'm looking for there, but 110, and that came into 110.40s, 110.50s, now up $4 from there. So up 4% or so from those lows. Right there is Marvell. So this name is really starting to get some juice behind it as well, MRVL. Just to go back to the Intel discussion about how strong Intel's been, Marvell, you know, strong backside as well. And then yesterday we had a big strong move in Apple, and that's just kind of hanging out right now. Here's a CL contract. Remember, it was down 17.5% the last time we checked it out, down 16.5 now. You want to talk about choppiness? If I zoom out, it doesn't look as choppy. You know, there's the high. We made the lows. We double touched the lows. We basically double touched the high again. I mean, we didn't extend it all the way to 95 bucks. We got to 94.50, and right now we're trying to make that move one more time right now on the NASDAQ again, back into some of these halfway levels. So we'll have to wait to see on the, that's the NASDAQ right here, flat. It's oil that's just trying to figure out which trend it wants to do. We looked at the dollar. I mean, the dollar's been, I didn't look at it with this Oracle long. Maybe I should have, because this is what basically has been happening with it. It looks like we do have the high. So we're starting to make lower highs. Lower highs, yeah, all the way down in there. We haven't necessarily broke anything lower to get too worried, but with the oil, with the dollar coming back in, that should be good for the NASDAQ and for the long in some of these spaces. But we know that this is a very, very much an oil-driven spot.
It's been another fresh high, though.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. NASDAQ is trying to get lower now. I'm actually surprised at how well the NASDAQ is holding up right now. Maybe it's oil names. We should.
USO just broke higher for the first time. Boils above VWAP, so the third time is not a charm. It's still relatively weak. Like, the difference here is you just have to wait for it. Like, USO is at the pre-market highs, but this was 50 pennies higher when USO was up here, so it's definitely lagging. But until you get to that top and retest it, or USO curls, there's no reason to still be in that trade. But that's going to bode well for, okay, it's going to bode poorly for the market, unfortunately, maybe bringing some things down with it. Intel, it's given you the consolidation short, but it hasn't broken through. The next level down is 57 and then VWAP, so that's where I'm looking for targets. I did reload SMR. Retool it, I guess, on a lower high at the same moment that oil futures were breaking up. So this one's still kind of going channel down. I feel like I'll go to a 15-minute. If there's continuation on this, that's a pretty big fail break of 10. So as long as it holds underneath the 10, just want to stay engaged with it, because there's so much room to the downside here. It was a $9.16 stock. Like, the stock has been doing this and a tentative ceasefire on a company that doesn't make any money. Why? So I just feel like that can be a fade, but you know, it wasn't right the first time, and if we lose VWAP, then it won't be right again. Intel, again, just incredibly strong. We talked about relative strength in Apple. I'm not even sure how good that is anymore. Even it's starting to make some lower highs and starting to fall under a little bit of pressure here. Up 2%. Apple's doing pretty good. It was lagging the overall market, or I guess some of the other Mag 7 names in terms of percentage, maybe because it's more of a stable name. But heck, if you're above VWAP and the market's at the lows, I can't hate on it too much.
No, so this is XOM. I was looking at that, still down that 6%. So, you know, we could definitely have a look there. We did reload a little bit. We have a fun thing for that. Oh, what's up, Randy? Where's my reloaded? There it is. I'm at the 50% mark of the coffee as
I actually almost finished this.
Noted. Oh, nice, Neil.
See? But it was cold at the end.
Yeah.
I drank cold coffee, Randy. No, I'm not chugging coffee.
I'm going to spill this all over my keyboard.
You got to enjoy your coffee. You don't...
Okay. What's the weather like out there, Randy? I think it's still pretty cold. 1 degree.
It's going to warm up.
32 degrees.
It is. It's going to be 16 tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Well, it'll be above. It's going to get to like 6 degrees today.
It's not tomorrow yet. No, good call, Randy. Right now we are just trying to get out a little bit more here. There it is. Yeah, we get some 145.48s there on Oracle, and we're just taking 20 cents. If we can get back and forth on this name, fine. Break of 145, we're gone. So I think just 1-to-1 right now. Top off the trade. We made back a good amount there on ORCL. The peace talks. Here we go. We're going to go to Adara. I don't know if this is what she's going to talk about, but I'll put it on the screen, and we'll go over to Adara.
Couple different things I'm hearing here with the Middle East. We did have Iran, another Iranian state media, so take it how you will. One of these sources saying that Iran will be punishing Israel for attacks against Hezbollah and violations of their ceasefire agreement. And then the headline that's on the screen here that came out a minute ago, New York Times reporting that President Trump said that peace talks will begin in Pakistan very soon, further adding that some of these envoys here, Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, will be going to these Iran talks in Pakistan. He might even bring J.D. Vance, Vice President of the U.S., on these talks as well. So again, that's being reported by the New York Post. We're seconds away as well from crude oil inventories as well as gasoline inventories. If there's anything of note there, I can, of course, just let you guys know, but we're seconds away from these inventory prints. Again, those come out at 10:30. Back to you.
Thank you very much there, Dara. So oil probably going to have some interesting books in about 30 seconds. Someone in the chat was asking, can you cover JTAI? Sure. It's halted again. So it's not the first halt it's had. It's halted at $7 almost exactly, and the tap is $7. Looks like it's an up halt for the second time. This got absolutely waxed and rinsed and is now catching a bit of a bid. 2.8 million shares, so the volume not bad, but multiple halts. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, at least 3, maybe 4 halts this morning on JTAI. Be careful trading this one. This is A, habitual line stepper, B, liquidity on these when you reverse split. Like, yuck. Usually it's a bit of a sell. But for now, it's looking pretty good. So we got a build of 3.9 versus a draw that was expected. But nice. USO didn't really... Like, the headlines that we're getting, like the rando headlines that we're getting are moving oil more than this. Like, USO did not even budge. It's still chilling at the HOD, putting some pressure on the markets.
Yeah, I take a little bit more out of Oracle there, but other than that, man, sort of the same old stuff happening on this side. Let us know what you guys want to trade right here. We do have our... Oh, actually, I don't have the stock. Do you have the stock visualizer over there you can put up, Andre? Okay, why don't we just do that and see right now. So I closed. I actually got to get that back. Tesla, Intel, okay. Well, we looked at Tesla. Palantir, I haven't looked at that in a minute. OMEX was quite a big runner earlier. We can check out OMEX.
Isn't that the stock?
Yeah, well, I think it's $1 so now. $1.50 right now. There's NVIDIA and Apple on the board. SoFi, SoFi's only 1660 right now. So that's a nice move to the downside there. Rocket Lab, we did have some, that's not Rocket Lab. Wow, ELAB there at the end of that. So, yeah, some good talks on some of those markets. And here goes the NASDAQ.
I shouldn't have
making a move down. Okay, there must be something going on. We're still short the NASDAQ. We just took an opportunity to get more. I mean, it's unbelievable, the ebbs and flows of this. We just took some out at 57s right there. We're hearing, so the Strait of Hormuz is not open, basically, and some of those tankers are being stopped right now going through the strait. So that's part of the story that we're hearing right now. So if you're interested in that.
Highs of day in USO just now.
Yeah,
as you can see. You were never going to go sideways forever. Now you're really starting to break out in a big way. Well, if it wasn't moving a bit higher, they just said, crude oil, moving a bit higher as it breaks through the high of the day. What are we talking about? That's not a bit higher. That is a lot higher.
Like, what is wrong with paying? I thought that was a decent opportunity. I mean, I don't know what the price needs to be, but like $1 per barrel seems. I mean, I know some of those ships have 1 million barrels on it or more.
It's still worse than before.
I feel like that's
a worse situation than was before, though, ultimately. And all of this is still.
I don't know what the price should be.
Davis is thanking us for the news. We got to go to Adara first for some news.
Yeah.
Here's the entire headline here. Iran's Fars news agency. So once again, guys, this is coming from Iranian state media, so do be aware of that. They're saying that any oil tankers that have passed through the Strait of Hormuz have been stopped since what Iran viewed as Israel's violation of the ceasefire. So basically, since Iran believed that Israel had violated the ceasefire since that occurred. They have been stopping any oil tankers that have passed through the Strait of Hormuz. Furthermore, President Trump continuing to say that he believes that face-to-face discussions with Iran are coming shortly. We are going to be getting at 1 p.m. a press conference or a press briefing at the White House with U.S. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. So we're very likely to get more talking points from the U.S. on this at that time. As I see headlines from any agency, I will keep you all posted. Back to you.
Thanks, Adair. And the thing is, you have to try to, you're just keeping it into perspective of what things were before, right? Like the Strait is pointed out in the chat as international waters and was not controlled, and there was not a toll. So like even a small toll or just enforcing anything is going to be seen as long-term negative right now. So thank you for the super chat. Thanks for the news updates from Davis here, Davis ER 132. You straddled SPY options yesterday. You sold calls this morning for 5x. Holding puts right now, coupled with the bad headlines, and we go back down. A lot of bad headlines. I don't think there's been, maybe I'm wrong, but since the open, I don't think there's been a positive headline yet. And you are still, from the open, trending higher over there on USO. There has not been a definitive trend break at all. So Intel is still the strongest name out there. If there's a stronger one, it's probably some kind of small cap or micro cap, but it's holding pretty decently. Like it's been able to pull back 30 pennies, actually went 40 at one point, just put another topping tail candle in, but that doesn't matter if the next one closes green. The trend of VWAP could get rejected right here. After that topping tail candle, I had to move the stop to break even, because if you take out that one, then it's just too strong, and then it'll be a muted trade. SMR is headed right back in. I'm just looking for the current low, and then we'll think about the gap fill. Current low is at about 70. I don't know, I'm sitting at 73, but it's at like 70 cents. We break this, and then you look for a further gap fill. I said I shouldn't look at the the SoFi chart, and it's not like it's not a big deal, but that's nasty. That's nasty. I don't know if there's and again, why was SoFi up? Like SoFi was up because the market was up.
A big banking bill or something.
I felt like we've heard some stuff on that.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's just
a lot of names are getting.
Giving up the ghost.
Nasdaq is down right now, almost 1% from its highs. So the fact, look, we've been short, so it's been good, and then we're just trying to milk this long on Oracle, which, by the way, I am not reloading. We've done well enough to get out for 1-to-1. If the next little low does not, we're still short the futures, so it's fine. But if this does not hold 145, then I'm out. Like I could right now take 20 cents. It's been giving back and forth 20 cents every single time. So I don't know. I just feel silly because the time that I don't hold it is, of course, the time that it's going to rip. So we got to be careful with that. Yeah, man, this is where we need that everybody's winning, that sort of meme where Trump is dancing and saying, can't we all win or whatever? This is today makes a lot of sense there, as oil, the only real problem today in the energy space, right? Look at some of these. AMAT back up 8%. There's Lam Research up 10%. Like that's adding billions of dollars to these names. GV up 3%. Just looking over here, we all know that these are going to be high, right? Caterpillar. There was even talk about rebuilding Iran as part of the deal as well. So you need equipment to do that. And look at Home Depot. I don't know if they're going to be buying their lumber from Home Depot for that or not. Just joking, but that's up 5% as well. Amazon up 3.5%. Walmart. The retail space is looking nice. Where's my Target? I don't see it on here, but there it is, 1.5%. So that's good. We'll take that for Target. I love that dividend as well. Yeah, some of the retails aren't the greatest. And it's funny here because we went after Palantir today, and it went after us. It's back up to 148. Okay, good. Nice move there for Palantir. Base down near that 146. Probably should have stuck with it, but we did not. I'm glad we found Oracle, so no problems there. Really like Google, Meta coming back upside there. CrowdStrike and PanW both up 3%, so that's real nice. Interesting to see IBM just hovering right now, up 0.12. And man, oh man, IGV, when will you be fixed? Because CRM's still red on a day like today, so not great news there. I guess I was going to look for Microsoft. I think you had to be happy up 1.65%. Adobe, and that's part of the IGV. We saw Palantir getting hit. That's for some reason a big. Well, it's a software, so I guess that's a big part of Palantir's story. And there's the Palantir long. That's been good, right? 146 held. And if we zoom back out, why did 146 hold? It was yesterday's opening area. okay, that could have been something there. But like, what if it loses that? Do you punch out immediately? That's 145.50. Downside there, 144.50. So yeah, you could have given yourself about $2 worth of risk to now be making that $2. So it looks like a good trade alert there on Palantir for anybody that had it. Well spotted on a 1-to-1 now, up $2 there. Tesla down. Did I see Tesla was down still pretty good there? Down 3 or 4%? No. Okay, Tesla's flat on the day, but yeah, just hovering, almost going red. Tesla's down, actually. You talked about SoFi. Tesla's, whoopsies. Get rid of that.
I think SoFi's chart's the worst.
Yeah, Oracle's was pretty bad. That's why I picked on it. But 4.5% there for Tesla. SoFi might be. I'm just going to see what SoFi is doing as well from the open.
7% maybe?
Is it? Yeah, because it was up.
Well, from the high.
Doing the rough math.
Not from the open, from the high.
Yeah, I'm just going from here to here. Yeah, 6%. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. SoFi down 6, Tesla down 4.5. As some of these names just continue to get beat up, but maybe we found a bottom. We'll see if SoFi can handle that right now. Looks like it's even trying to get a little wee lower.
Maybe wait for 16 on that thing.
Oh man. Well, 16, yeah, or even
16 is
even lower.
I think 16 is just where, yeah, like maybe a little higher, like 16 quarter. Just look at the last couple of sessions where it consolidated. Like where else, look to where other people were buying. If you're trying to find strength in here, that's all I can give you. Oil futures just got to another high. I was looking at, you just had a bunch of names up there. Remember the trade desk? I didn't think this was going to be possible, because we were joking about how this would be a flat bottom break if it took out the bottoms, and then everything was gapped higher. Oh yeah, that's right. Trade desk could still make a fresh low. It's still up 1 point, but you get to 20.5, and this is right back in and threatening to break the low. I forget what the other names were on the poll that we had in the afternoon. It was the trade desk, it was SMCI.
I chose SMCI, and we had Oracle.
And Oracle. It was like, which one would you have? We forced our viewers to pick one between 3 bad stocks: Oracle or poorly performing SMCI, Oracle, and the trade desk. I think trade desk got only sympathy votes, and with good reason. It could go red today. If it breaks 2050, I think that's just a pure flat bottom break. Adara.
When you've got a board this green, we're going to start with the outliers. What sectors are red today? One of them is absolutely energy minerals, of course. Big pullback in oil, though it is bouncing off of these pre-market and open market lows. As we do continue to digest the ongoing news of whether or not there is a ceasefire, as we've mentioned, there are reports that all sides have, other than the U.S., as far as I can tell, have violated the ceasefire to some degree. So we've heard reports that both Israel and Iran have issued strikes and or drones. Be aware here, this situation could heat back up. But as of right now, this energy mineral sector is the weakest by far. Communications actually quite red. We know Joe talked about the downgrades across the sector this morning. Both VZ, Verizon, and AT&T to the downside. TMUS actually lightly positive. Industrial services with a lot of weakness. Same with process industries and utilities. A little bit of red here as well. But let's talk about what's strong. Producer manufacturing holding up incredibly well. We've got LRCX and AMET up roughly 10% and 9% respectively. Non-energy minerals trading higher here, very likely in sympathy with some of these precious metals plays with NEM and FCX. Again, trading with gold and copper respectively. Commercial services strong, transportation strong, health tech with the exception of J&J quite strong. Consumer non-durables relatively strong. Finance, we're like less than a week out from bank earnings now, guys, and these stocks trying to run at least a little bit heading into those reports. Retail trade looking good. Tech services, the exception of Palantir, doing quite well. And then you've got electronic technology. Only red name I can see here is Northrop Grumman. Again, we're seeing some of these defense plays trading a little bit lower with signs that the ceasefire could potentially continue and the war could come to an end. However, Micron, Arista Networks, GE Aerospace, and Intel all incredibly strong within the electronic tech sector. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content we're bringing to you every day.
Right, I switched up the plan a little bit there. I'll have a face slapper on Oracle as we get slapped to the downside as it takes down that 145. We banked on it, so it's fine. We got stopped out of our last. Told you I had like 25% left, so it was all good. I went into the short and we just took 20 cents on the short, but I don't know. Like we didn't get out of a whole bunch there. Actually, we got 85s, so where are we short? 05s, yeah. So we take 20 cents there. I was just trying to see this 50-period moving average right now, and 25 and 50s up here into 70. I'll reload it if we get up here, and then just drop it off down there. I mean, the ceasefire seems like it's been broken both sides now, so I don't really know, what this means for the market, but I mean, Trump's been talking positively about it, so I don't want to layer into these shorts. We're still short the NASDAQ, and we'll just try to give this one a little bit of a bump short if it will go. I mean, Oracle, we had said that some of these names potentially trying to turn red today, and you looked at SoFi, we looked at Tesla, and sort of their downside moves. Could Oracle get lower than where we are right now? We just broke near that low, and a little bit of a move back in now for Oracle. So let's wait to see. I flipped it up. So we were short, we were long. Once we broke that, I was like, let me look for some shorts. Thought we had got a decent one there with momentum back down to the downside. But again, I'm just trying to stick to the plan. I think the right move is less, I didn't even take a unit there. Took 3/4 of a unit, looking to get another position up here. I'm offering 50s, 145.50 to get that unit and a half, and then we'll see how low can we go, because that's the plan of action for me. Less shares, but a little bit more risk on the movement. So let's wait to see what happens on Oracle right now. We tried it for the long. We made back a decent spot there from our Palantir mishap, but here comes Oracle. We're short now as it did break our support level, and I want to flip up the narrative into the short now on ORCL.
Yeah, the narrative, there hasn't been, I mean, you know this already because you're in that great short in the futures. On the 15-minute candle, every single candle on the Qs, let me double check the ES, I'm sure it's the same. Technically, the ES has had one green candle on the 15. If I squint hard enough, I suppose it's true. I can't imagine how it is, but I looked over, it's true. But it's just all red. This is not to plan. The plan was not to be short on Intel. The plan was to be long on Intel. It was a fail not to get long on Intel. The only long that was worth it, I shouldn't say that. You could have gone long oil futures. The only tech long that was pretty clean all morning was probably Intel, but it is pulling back into VWAP. Even if the market continues to go lower, if I'm going to be bullish, a trend break, I'm going to stick to the rule. If we hold VWAP, fair enough, it's a line in a chart, but the support is actually this 56.8 level. So if it bounces off here and shows me a reverse, I'll probably punch out of it. I haven't moved the trail. I'll just kind of look at it manually. We'll hold on to SMR for now, because what's going on is the first real move in oil futures was to the upside. Like when it broke, and that signals short. So at that point, you're looking for the short trade, even if you were bullish on a stock, that was going to be the name of the game. But we're consolidating again and going sideways on USO. And if the first move is a pullback from this consolidation, I expect you get a bit of a bounce on Intel. Doesn't mean I have to be long, but looking for this play. Give me my 75s. I'll just take the 80s. USO's at that top. We'll take the trade as fit to the plan of action. Still haven't found a reload on SMR yet. I'll cancel that offer. Made a nice higher low in here. Didn't get a great price on the reload, but you're starting to really see, after getting in on the front end like a fool and not waiting for the double top, you could still have a bounce and then a little consolidation area to try to get me back into this. To reload it, but lower highs are getting put in, so it's starting to form a bit of a reasonable trend under VWAP, which will short some pops in for sure. So for now, the market continues to go lower. USO is taking a bit of a time off here, which I think is fine. It did this pattern before, and when it broke higher, that was your chance to jump into some short opportunities if you weren't in them. That's effectively when it broke that trend is when Intel turned into a short for me. Just wait for the market to give you the indication. You could easily break this high and then look for something that's lagging and play it.
All right, the short's coming in, man. I mean, look at the short on the futures right here and on Oracle. So now we're taking 40 cents or so. We just got 75s on Oracle, 30 cents. 75s there. And here come the futures. Lowest spot we've been at all day. So we'll put another bid here at 61 and see if we can grab that. And we do as we get a little lower, man. We flipped up our game plan. We were long. We are now short. Still got most of this Oracle spot. I'm at 61s waiting for a bid. And then we'll see if we can get something lower than that after. But yeah, right now it is downside move. movement here in the market as we get lower. The lowest we've been all day. Last time I thought we like bouncing off 25,000. We could see if that happens again. Come on, Oracle, what are you even doing over here? I'm gonna take another bid at 75. There it is. You just put a bid and you get hit, it seems like. So futures going lower, man. Wow. To have taken this trade again, I would have really maxed out, but you know, that's what you're gonna do. That was a low break of the day right there on the TQs. We take that break almost immediately off the open. We got short, and the short is definitely printing right now. Let's go over and see what news Adara's got for us at the big desk.
Couple different headlines. We'll start with the stock-specific one here, PAYO. Now, it seems like this is purely speculative, but I'm seeing some people on social media sharing speculations here that PAYO or Payoneer could be used and reportedly has been used for years for North Korean money laundering. Again, very speculative, but there was a bit of a move down when this first started to come out a couple of minutes ago, so I did want to let you guys know. I'm also wanting to remind you guys, we are still hearing about some conflicts in the Middle East with Iran apparently also violating the ceasefire. I mentioned earlier some reports that there were some drones over Saudi Arabia. Now Qatar's defense ministry coming out and saying that they were targeted on Wednesday by 7 missiles and drones launched from Iran. So again, we're hearing continued talks that we've got violations from both Israel and Iran of this ceasefire. Just be aware this back and forth does continue. Saw a Financial Times report as well suggesting that the White House pushed Pakistan to broker a temporary ceasefire with Iran. Make of that what you will. Lots of headlines coming through. I'll try to keep you guys apprised of what I deem to be like the biggest ones and ones that are moving the market. Back to you.
Thank you very much there, Adara, as always. And you are getting, oh, wow. So this, I see in the chat some people talking about this INHD. It had a down halt, opened back up, lost the dollar level. It's trying to battle back. I think it was maybe 2 down halts. Two down halts at least, maybe even a third one, because it looks like a halt there as well. But it's now trying to catch a little bit of a bounce. That VWAP is a line on a chart. Sometimes the dollar level or previous halt prices can be a little bit more interesting than the volume weighted average price. When it's this crazy trading, VWAP is like a suggestion. It's like a hard line in the sand. Is probably a bit of a trap if you just try to short that there. But watch the $1 level on this INHD. It's going to do hundreds of millions of shares today, but it has halted multiple times. Not as liquid as you would usually think. Back to a big cap name. Intel's actually holding VWAP for now. There's just no sign of any real change of activity in USO yet. Like if you want that to bounce, I'd want USO breaking down. Like break this trend and then maybe Intel turns into a long. But as long as you just hold the consolidation, it's consolidating in an uptrend, which is not breaking back in. So it'll be a wait and see for me on the next move there for Intel, because it's just one sideways. Car could get ugly soon, says TT or Tay-Tay in the chat. This isn't ugly? Car's down 10% from the highs. I guess that's not ugly enough.
Could get uglier, I guess.
Yeah, like it broke out, tried to squeeze again, failed the top, which is something it's done in the past. It literally did this yesterday. Does this look similar? Broke, came right back in, held the lows, and then just rallied. So yeah, absolutely could get a heck of a lot uglier. But right now, this is exactly the same pattern that it did the day before. It liquidity trapped people at 10 o'clock there with a bottoming wick. I'd be very fearful, not fearful, if I was trading it, my first look would be do not get trapped by just a simple break of the low, because that's exactly how it did it to people yesterday. Make sure it confirms underneath. There's plenty of room to drop. There's like $50 of downside if it loses that gap. You don't need the initial move if you're trading that the other way. Adara?
We have a gap down here on the DXY. Of course, this morning we're actually poised for our third straight red day for the US dollar. Opening today's session here just below 99 after closing yesterday's session just below, where did we close yesterday's session? Around 99.5. So opening quite a bit lower here than yesterday's close. Current low of day here around 98.5, though we've bounced a little bit from that point. So big gap down here for the US dollar. One thing I do want to note, though, of course, as we continue to digest whether or not there is a ceasefire and what that will mean for oil prices and or inflation, I want to talk here about the situation here with the Fed funds and potential rate cuts. I want to shout out someone in the chat yesterday, I believe Frank in the chat mentioning that you can actually look at all the probabilities right here. So we're not expecting a 25 basis point rate cut until September of 2027. However, yesterday we weren't expecting one till December of 2027. So potential rate cut odds have been bumped up by 2 months here. However, we are still not pricing in any chance of a cut in 2026. The best chance of a cut in 2026 comes through December of 26, 64% chance of rates being held. Yesterday it was a lot closer to 80%, but again, very unlikely we're going to get a cut until late 2027, even with things changing a little bit with this temporary ceasefire being announced. I also want to remind you guys, probably not going to mean too much now given the massive change of the state of things as of last night, but we will get the FOMC minutes from the March 18th, 2026 meeting of the Fed at 2 p.m. Eastern today. I'll cover those for you guys. Those will come out in just over 3 hours. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Adara. Yeah, Money Talk's going to be a good one there. As you saw the U.S. dollar, we've seen the way the NASDAQ is reacting today, and it's just straight down. So, you know, that short still continues to print. We're at the lows of the day right now in the NASDAQ, and looks, oh, wow, and just broke again lower right now. We have really done well. We talk about this, and I'm glad that everyone's here with us. Like, to lose, we didn't lose on Oracle. Obviously, it was a great trade, but we ran into the short, and it's like you got to have sometimes, as Neil had mentioned there, looking long or whatever you were looking one way in Intel, then you went the other way short, and it's just like that's part of it. Sometimes when they just line up, you got to take it. So there it goes. There's the short rate there off the stop. So we get stopped out, then we went short. Unfortunately, we almost got, like, my reload's at 50. It went to 44. This would have been nice to get that trade. We didn't get it. We missed it by 5 cents, and there we go, breaking lower. I always put something at 50, so we'll bid 56 here. See if we can get that. 1.4, there it is. Yeah, we get it. So that's a nice move lower right there to 56. So now we'll take 50 cents. On this trade and see if we can get a little bit lower. Now, there we go, 4 oracles. So, yeah, man, so far so good. We props up those of you that have stayed short in the market. And it's only 10:54, which means it's about time we do what's for lunch. So, okay, I'm still shook from Monday. And
we know what Friday is because we looked.
Yeah, well, I didn't look. You guys looked at the flag, of course. So today's flag is Chinese. So we do have, not bad, I feel like, Chinese right here. Braised chicken, Shanghai style.
Needs to be General Tao.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how the spice level is on this one. So braised chicken, Shanghai style, with garlic sauteed Napa cabbage. Okay, steamed jasmine rice, and of course, the ever infamous Asian slaw. So let's go Oracle. So not bad. Yeah, it sounds great to me as well. So yeah, that's what's for lunch around these joints. Red braised chicken, Shanghai style, chicken, garlic sauteed Napa cabbage, and some steamed rice. A little bit of coleslaw on the side. Wow, Oracle goes from Dollar Club one way to potentially Dollar Club the other way, as Oracle just dripping down right now. 144.31s. We just get that fill. We'll take another one down there if we can get it. But there it goes, man. The Q's is $1 in the money. Oracle's 75 cents. We've got it going so far, so good.
Yeah, so far so good for sure. It was just about the flips. Even Intel just lost VWAP, so... losing VWAP maybe. It's still one of the stronger names out there, but only 6.7%. Didn't think it SMR made a lot of sense. We were in it too early before, but now it's steadily holding. I can give it 3. Well, it's 1, 2, the break of VWAP, the lower high. We just broke the lows again, so we're going to continue this stair step down. I think you're into full gap fill mode on some of these names. Not everything has completely lost the bid, but anything that was strong is dead, because USO just made another high. Remember, we're like, it's no chance you're just going to hold this consolidation forever. That was the moment right in here when even what was strong turned to red, and once it did, you had to jump into something to the south side. This other consolidation is trying to break higher. If we continue to fill the gap on USO, like how far can it go? Just go back to last week, 125.5 was a resistance level. And the only reason I'm pointing that out is partly for myself, because when you're in the void, if we get there, then I'm want short boil up at this 15 level. Prior support, resistance already this morning. That's the curl that I'm gonna like, but USO's got some work to do. So holding shorts until that point, Nothing really has changed with regard to USO and its strength. Some of the names that we love dearly or like, whatever. One of them, Apple. This is bucking the trend. So I would still call relative strength on Apple. I don't know how long it's going to be able to hold this. It's above VWAP for now. But this is it could also be a trend break through VWAP. For now, it's holding strength. If we catch any kind of reversal in USO, you could do worse than to look at Apple for some strength. But I'd almost be more inclined to play the catch-up trade. Like, that's what Intel did. Intel was going higher and higher and eventually got dragged down. I could see the same thing happening with Apple. It hasn't happened yet. I think you got to be patient with it. And if I'm being fair, you can look at this wedge. It's making lower highs and higher lows to form a wedge pattern, which could break to the upside. So there's some strength, relatively speaking, in Apple. I just like the trend break down because I'd rather take a trend break going with what the market is doing. But that's sometimes a distinction without a difference. I see people talking about Palantir. I haven't checked. Wow. Yeah, I'm surprised by this one. Little surprised by this because if the ceasefire is not a ceasefire, then Palantir is still a defense name. But it is what it is. The ball's not lying on this, apparently, on Palantir. And it's still heading lower. Relative strength in Intel and Apple, as far as I'm concerned, that's just about it. And I see Raptor in the chat saying Walmart and Costco strong. If you're looking, there might be some defensive. Walmart's not a defensive name. Costco's not a defensive name. But the turmoil maybe not affecting them as much. That makes some sense to me. But you're not going to get crazy, crazy moves out of Walmart, and it's only filling in this gap up top. I'd still be wary of any of these highs. Do you think anything's going to take out fresh highs today with the market doing what it's doing? I'd be a little bit skeptical myself. And I say that as I love Walmart. But I would be shocked if it got through this 127 up here on a day like today.
I'm actually surprised Walmart's going up, to be honest with you. I think the P is crazy times on that one. But hey, I like Walmart for sure, especially if we do go into a hard time right now. And if we do get lower interest rates, it's better for the consumer. So that should be a Walmart play for sure. Yeah, look, we're just starting to cover everything right now because why not? I mean, the TQ's just made a huge move down in. We've been short since the open on the NASDAQ. So, I mean, that's just been what it's been. And then we're also got $1 in Oracle now, so we're starting to cover all of that. Thanks to everybody for watching here today. We're going to throw it back over to Obi and Joe momentarily. There's oil. You know, it was 17.5. When we logged in today. Now you're starting to make a little bit of a move higher here into 15.5 as oil near the highs of the session. So definitely a look there if you are interested in that play. But yeah, someone said, yeah, look at Palantir. Yeah, not much going on there. Tesla also, that'll be something that the boys will probably be looking at. Tesla down quite nicely, over 4.5% from the open downside there on Tesla. But yeah, ears to the ground. I'm going to be sitting here doing my taxes. So will not be a gym day today, and we're going to listen to the news. So my trades will still be happening. I'll put them in the chat. We want to thank everybody for joining us today.
11 o'clock.
One more time. It is 11 o'clock. NASDAQ, right now, IBIT breaking a little lower. 71,000 just got taken out on IBIT also. So NASDAQ trying to make a comeback, but don't call it a comeback until we're a little higher than where we are right now. I was like, hey, would we still be happy with the NASDAQ up 2.5%? We both said yes early. Guess what? NASDAQ up 2.5%.
That's a great day.
Yeah, we're still short. It's been a good day. All right, practice.
Taxes.
This ain't practice. We're about to go to middle of the day with Obi and Joe. Adair will still be here. We'll catch you on the other side.
Oh.
Ciao for now.
She's not there.
Punctuality is second to none.
Boom.
A lot we got going on, man. AIXI starting to find a rebound. The market absolutely bonkers today. Welcome, everyone. I got to mute the site. I got my boy, Mateo. He's going to pull up here momentarily. Is that him? That's Mateo. I'm going to send it to Obi here real quick, and then after we'll get right into some roll call.
Yes, sir. Hopefully everyone's doing well there. What a crazy morning. Market with a gap up of over 3%. I was just like, oh boy, all right. Well, I'd be surprised if there isn't any selling coming in off of the open. And selling, definitely we've had. And we heard Sean just talk about Tesla, and Tesla was absolutely aggressive. Tesla, I know a couple people that might have had this one on the just the pre-market low breakdown. Take a look at that. 360 doesn't even look back, but you got to be there quick right off of the open and slap that. Even if you didn't, the consolidation well below VWAP.